Zach Mayer is absolutely, this man is focused. He is locked and loaded. This is not a drill. Big time bike racing is back. A lot of communication going on with that next and short team, but again, this is the man on the front. So Brian Duffy Jr. driving through. Wisconsin's Hayden Tucker. Restart Nathan is really standing up to that next team here.
Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Echelon Racing League, race number 5 in the series. I'm Nathan Guerra. Dave Toll sat next to me. Dave, super excited to get into race number 5 of 6. The riders are out on the jungle loop today for a couple of laps. They're on the dirt. With the bikes a little bit neutralized, though, it sounds like it's going to be an interesting one, I think, out here today. Serpentine 8 in the jungle, though, is what they're doing.
Yeah, to say the least, Nathan. This is going to be... So I was doing a little research on the Mayan culture, right? That's the Mayan jungle that we're racing in. And one thing about that culture, they were obsessed with time, right? Calendars and time. Well, it's going to be a lot of time that you're spending out on course today. This is going to be, I'm going to say the burn rate on this day, Nathan, is going to be the highest that we see in the ERL. The Echelon Racing League has had a really wide range, diverse races, but this is just going to be brutal out here today. Expect at least an hour and a half for most riders.
Yep, we are going to have amateur racing as well as the elites up for you. The amateurs have gotten out on course. We've got 4 different feeds for you out here today. We have jumped in with the C men, the B men, the B women, and the C women out here today. So we'll be bringing you coverage across these as the moves are being made. Dave, they are out on those Mayan sections of course, actually. It's some of the coolest looking scenery actually in Zwift, I think.
I would agree. The depth and layers, if you watch along during the racing today, you're going to see some incredible things. And I have a feeling, so this world really 2020, this expansion came into play. And I have a feeling that in the future, there's going to be some cool advancements, things that we've never seen on Zwift happening in this part of the Zwift-verse out here. So Nathan, these riders have been, at this point now, I believe this is our 6th week, even though we're into our 5th event here. It's been a real big commitment from this group for sure. We've seen quality racing week in, week out, and we'll get a feel where everybody stands here in a moment as we take a look at what looks like, well, we're going to be in with the B's, C's, and D's today, and it looks like now with this B race, we've got Lehman on the attack, and the Canadian has already rolled out a 21-second advantage, Nathan. Wow.
Yeah, Eric Lehman, making a little bit of a move. 21 seconds. You know, it's because he rides a mountain bike. He's sending it right now on the dirt. I love it. In the dirt, the guy coming from the dirt is making the moves here, coming out of Canada. As you can see, great job by him so far, getting off the front. Now, can he hold on to this is a question. It's a long day in the saddle here, Dave, and I think the pack here with the B men maybe thinking a little bit about letting this just kind of cook out there in front of the race.
Eric is a high school and youth mountain bike coach, and he knows how to light the fuse, I get the feeling, especially when you're around young people, enthusiasm. Well, he's channeling their spirit for sure as he heads out. It's going to be, let me just check my notes here. It's a long day. We were talking about 46 kilometers, and actually the lead in to the laps that we're doing is long today as well as they spawned out of the pens. We're still in that sector right now, getting out onto the loops as Eric Lehman is going to give them something to chase, Nathan.
Yeah, he is. 31 registered total here. 23 joined, it looks like. Now, the Chasers, they're 21 seconds back right now, with Drummond kind of leading things up for them at this point. And he's giving a little bit of a go, it looks like, as saying, come on, boys. Now, here's the thing. Dave, it says 2 laps to go there off in the background. As you can see, they're about to take on a little bit of a climb. And I have a feeling that's probably what they're thinking about right here, that the climb is coming and we'll jump across. Those who can make it with us will jump across with us at that moment.
Well, I would agree. That's the classic selection, Nathan, that we're going to see out here. As with a long race like this and the experience that you've got in this B field, as I see Joe Paulson has taken the start. He was on the podium at the USA Cycling National Championships hosted here on Swift Community Live. There's a lot of quality riders in this group, Nathan, that are trusting in the process, and they realize that they're really right now not under any pressure as far as that attack from Eric Lehman. Not to sell that short, as Eric Lehman is making the race out here right now in the opening chapters. Definitely he's the lead character, but we'll see how this plays out here over the next 10K. I think this race will settle into more of a rhythm. It is interesting, though, Nathan, that he wanted to do this. I like the cut of his jib, as they say. A rider attacking early on a day like this. He's, what do they say? Mad dogs and Englishmen, right? He's from Canada, so that doesn't really apply here. But an attack like that, it's purposeful. It sends a statement, and we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, and now we are starting into that climb here. As you can see, off in the upper right-hand corner, you can see the little dot of green. They are not going left onto the Alp, but instead are going to head on forward through the climb. And looking forward to seeing Simon the Sloth, as we've nicknamed him, out there. As they'll go through this little windy section to the top of the Jungle Loop area. Now, it is Serpentine 8, though, and as it is Serpentine 8, they do a figure 8 around the jungle, and they might start being able to see him off in the distance here in just a moment.
That's right.
This is Andrea Baldi that we're in with now. I see Andrea must be living in Switzerland, an amazing nation as far as, the ability to master so many languages there has always impressed me, right? Flying the Swiss flag, but I believe Andrea would be speaking in Italian, as I've also seen an Italian flag associated with his name, but that's Baldi on the front leading the chase right now. And it looks like it's starting to get a little more active back in our peloton here. This is the rider that they're chasing, the front runner right now, Eric Lehman, as Eric is on a mission, just sitting on some big watts out here. He's holding on, Nathan. It's really stabilized at 20 seconds, coming down a little bit right now, that advantage. But Eric seems pretty comfortable hanging about 20 seconds in front of the peloton here. As we come into really the first quarter of this race, it's been all Lehman.
Yeah, it really has. Let's take a quick look here at the top 10 in this current Echelon Racing League series for the category B men. What'll be interesting, looking at the current point structure, I mean, Jeremy Ziegler has completely walked away with this one so far from Ravenclaw. Bryant Kelly, though, on the chase there at 25 points back. Andrea Baldi's there, as you can see. So they're going to be kind of interested this at 541 at this move here, Dave. You know, I believe it's about 690, excuse me, from Jeremy Ziegler. My mistake here. So with 4 in, he hasn't won every single one. That's my mistake. But Eric here does have a chance to challenge a little bit. It's 200 points for a win, and there's plenty up for grabs here in those top podium spots.
Nathan, and I'm just scanning right now. I'm not sure that Jeremy has taken the start here today. Looking through this start list, but you can tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah, I thought I saw his name, though. Let me just double check. I thought I saw in the rider nearby list. Perhaps, no, maybe not.
I'm not
here.
seeing it, so I'll be honest. But if you've got him, I thought this would be a good time to check. It would be.
Yeah, no, it's a great time to check. And I'm actually in the rider nearby list here. I am not seeing Jeremy. I thought he'd shown up today, but looks like perhaps not.
To be fair, Bryant Kelly has taken the start, the Canadian here. So let's confirm that as well. But I do have Bryant Kelly on my start list. So this might be a big day for the Canadian here in the Echelon Racing League. Andrea Baldi definitely in the race. He was leading the chase. Joe Paulson here, Eric Lehman. So I believe, Nathan, that right now Jeremy is, what does he have now? 115-point advantage coming into this event. So that's definitely going to be in jeopardy as we take a look at our B men out here today. 2 laps plus the the run-in, which was significant out here. So 46K of challenging racing today.
Yeah, and this is Bryant Kelly, the man who is in second place right now, who's going to have a lot of interest in what's going up the road here, because that's 200 points that he's going to be needing to fight for from the BTMR team or BMTR team. So a little bit of struggle, though, it looks like here. You can see when they start putting the head a little bit sideways, right, Dave? That's when you're trying to do something about the pain in the legs to see if it'll go away if you just put the head the correct way, right? So, but Eric, they are starting to bring it back a little bit here, Dave, I think, but riders also popping off the back as well.
It's so unique to cycling, what you're talking about there with the cocking of the head to eliminate the pain. If I can get my head in just the right place, it won't hurt anymore, right?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what people are thinking. So
I love
15
cycling
seconds
for that.
now. 15 seconds now, Dave. So the chase is on here, and Bryant is maybe going to start putting it. Well, he's sitting in, actually. So, maybe on the downhill section, have a little more interest in trying to make some moves happen. But Eric still 4.7 off the front. Nice move by him.
I'm impressed in the patience back in this group as they didn't really take the bait. As you said, Nathan, they're whittling this down right now. Eric Lehman certainly has made his impression on this race, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens now in the next phase here, because it's starting to look to me like they're going to put some more pressure on this chase. So, Nathan, I mean, again, you can't get inside of Eric's head, but there's definitely a plan to what he's doing here. And I'm wondering if getting out in front of this one, if he's going to be looking to just see who's survived through this chase. Although, to be fair to the guys back in this group that are chasing now, if you're able to work together here, you are eliminating one of your danger men theoretically for the finale, as Eric Lehman is sitting in the top 5 here in the series. So he's had a good run so far and definitely qualifies as a danger man as we make our way over the Mayan Bridge. This, again, a absolutely classic part of the Zwiftverse.
100%. Well, let's go ahead and jump across over to the C category women and get a quick look here at how things are playing out in their race. They're about to start their climb, as you can see here, and it is going to be Carden here from the Dinos pushing forward. And Dave, we're going to look here at where their series standings sit and what may be playing out in front of us as the Dinos and One Row start to make some moves.
All right, so this again, women's C's that win. Paige has been a very active racer. I saw Connie Tang as well, the Team Rave Rider sitting in this group. She's been really fun to watch race out here. Angela Pitzer, one of the OG U.S. national champions out of Denver, Colorado, there in this field. This is a legitimate peloton that we're looking at right now. So Lisa Hopkins in the field here. Big shout out to Lisa. She and her partner Mark have been a lot of fun to watch on social media as the Drafting Dinos rider has really embraced racing in eSports, making it part of a healthy lifestyle. I love seeing that. So Maggie Carden, Nathan, is in jeopardy. It's certainly not a runaway right now as the Drafting Dinos rider on top of our table with 760 points, but you can see just 25 points back is the Canadian on Coalition, Susan Clark. Megan Radomski sitting right now in third. All of these riders are in play, to tell you the truth, for the series championship. Paige One Row, we were just mentioning Paige. Great job out there, Paige. The Revo rider sitting in fourth. Sherry Kingsley now in fifth. This is after 4 races. Those are the 5 riders that have completed 4 racers here in that group. And it looks like then you can see the points are going to be lower as they haven't taken as many starts for Sherry, Carrie, Angela, Connie, Jennifer, and Sherry Townsend. Freshly minted national champion Sherry Townsend out of Minnesota there. But back to the action now as we pick up our series leader. And
is that Stephen and Paige side by side riding?
We have some in. We've got some in cam here just a little bit. We'll bring them across. I love it that Steven just actually jumped in real quickly. And this is Steven and Paige, actually. So Paige One Row off on the side there, wiping with the towel. And then Steven, the husband, both racing, Echelon Racing League live here right now with us. Love it that he jumped in with us here. And the couple here. But Pitzer here putting the pressure on, so that's why things are getting kind of intense over there.
I'd be using the 3-foot rule if I was racing, just because of the temperature of having a hot racer right next to you does not sound ideal to me.
Depends on what kind of hot we're talking.
I need
right?
at least 6 feet between me.
Oh man,
It's only heat that I'm talking about. I appreciate the energy, but yeah, everybody's going to do it. I wonder, are they sharing a camera? Maybe.
yes, yeah. They're
That's
sharing the
plan,
camera
right.
there. It looks like, and I mean, probably, I believe they live in the Chicago area too, so maybe tight quarters.
It's
As
probably
well,
cold,
and it's
maybe.
cold. It's the windows
Right.
just got opened in here for Gabby, so it's
Oh,
about to
boy.
get all kinds of cold in this room now as well. So
I saw that you were helping the broadcast for Swift Grand Prix wearing a jacket on Thursday.
the jacket just got laid down next to me, Dave. Too like someone was kind enough, knowing as she opened the windows that
she saw this coming.
that this was going to be needed. Yeah. So, Dave, this is interesting. Cardin continues to press the pace here. What's going on here? You think looking to battle with Susan Clark, I think, is what's really going down. I mean, 760, 735 that we saw on the series so far. Randowski's within striking distance as well. So I think what you're going to see here with this category is Cardin, Randowski. One row also 603 off a little bit, but she's in the hunt for a podium, so she's going to be following moves here as well. So I really think it's that Susan Clark, Megan Randowski, you've got Paige One Row and Maggie Cardin here leading the charge right now to try and solidify her domination so far at 760 points. But Susan Clark's right there at 735, so she's going to be marking moves, and she has made this. The Canadian is there sitting right now about 6th or 7th wheel.
We were joking about downhills being the new uphill, and I think Maggie's on board with that. Is Maggie putting the hammer down right now here on the Mayan Bridge? So this is Maggie Cardin. Again, Nathan, I'm with you. Maggie making this tough. I don't know that she's going to drop. Well, everybody fighting through. I thought maybe we're going to see a split in the group, but that's a really impressive job to hang on there as this 7-rider group now. Actually, the rider that was fighting to hang in the group is now putting some pressure on, and I believe that is going to be Tang that we're looking at now here, Nathan. So this group, even though it's small but mighty, I would say, Connie, Tang, very impressive out here today.
Yeah, nicely done. Nicely done. Susan Clark here now jumping on board, not letting that move get away. So
Attentive.
Good job on her. Yep. Now Tang here, interesting enough, 8th in the overalls right now, rolling to the front though. I think she was just trying to hang on perhaps, but nice job by her, unless she's having a really good day out here today. Perhaps that could be it as well though.
Well, we talk about Zwiftcraft, and Nathan, one of the things that is the first hurdle that you get over is understanding that concept of feathering. And when you're in trouble, the natural reaction is to just throw a whole bunch of watts at the problem, but then you go right through the group, and that's wasted energy. And Nathan, that really is maybe Zwiftcraft 101, is learning how to respond to a situation, but not overreact and waste watts.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Now, Dave, there is a whole other race going on here in the B women, and they are the heroes today. It looks like with Synergy have shown
They're my
up.
heroes every day.
Well, here's the thing. Look at this, Dave. 3 women all on the same team. Barnes, Tuma, Lowe have broken this up, and they're essentially in a team time trial mode right now.
All right. So, wow. This is going to be interesting. 14K into 46K. Maggie Lowe, Melinda Barnes, and Melissa Tuma here. The heavy hitters. Now, Margaret Thompson chasing, okay, at 52 seconds back. So these are some riders that have been really putting in work. This is the sweet spot in the world of Zwift. The riders who really embrace community, as you're seeing. All of these Synergy riders have clearly got each other's back. But the 3 M's, Nathan, Maggie, Melinda, and Melissa are rolling it right now. It does look like a team time trial.
Yeah, nice job by them. And this is going to be Melinda Barnes in cam with us from Synergy, really working. I mean, Dave, this ride, this, you don't get this view all the time where you can see how hard these riders are actually working, right? Like, and you look at these avatars like, oh yeah, they're kind of like just taking it easy as a team. Melinda Barnes here is dripping sweat right now. I mean, she is absolutely smashing herself right now in order to get a good time, it looks like, and work with this team. So cool to see. And she's saying missing half the team. Lo is saying here as well. Legs are cooked. There's all kinds of chatter going on here, but they're definitely having a good training session. I saw them chatting about having a training session together now that they've broken things off the front.
I tell you what, Nathan, you got to give credit where it's due. That is just badass. A woman there who's clearly become comfortable being uncomfortable. I mean, when you can see sweat just dripping off of them, she's a monster making watts, still able to communicate Kolchinsky style via text. So I'm impressed by Melinda Barnes. I really am. That's super, Melinda. So this is the Synergy team that we're talking about right now. Melinda here with her teammates. The three of them are pressing on, Maggie and Melissa. So nice job, Synergy.
Yeah, great job to them. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at where the series standings are for this B category at this point. And it is going to be her teammate, actually, Melissa. And so that must be who they're working for, perhaps, or is there going to be a little bit of the gloves come off later in this race, perhaps? But it is going to be Synergy at the top. Margaret Thompson, though, showing up to hold on to her fourth place. Good to see that. Janet Barber there from Coalition. It's going to be Christy Delaire, Jennifer Slata, Lisa Bratz, and then Sarah Shannon. That's your top 10 in the women's B category for the Echelon Racing League as it stands right now. 19 minutes to the start of the women's elite racing day that's going to be kicking off here on the Jungle Loop. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I do know we do have at least Gabriela Guerra, I believe Elise Gallegos is going to be showing up on the day as well.
Okay.
So at least that head-to-head battle is going to be going on. And Dave, it's close. Elise has had an extra race, but and it's going to be really difficult for Gabby to close the gap out there. But I did hear her talking a little bit about it yesterday. But I think, there'd have to be catastrophe, so I'm not sure it's going to be able to happen. We'll see, though. We'll see. They're going to put on a good race, though. They're so competitive. They're good friends, but at the same time, I could see it in Gabby like, I don't know. Let's see what can happen here.
Well, Nathan, I love hearing that. And I'll be honest, I'm going to guess that both Gabby and Elise would much rather show up and have an epic battle with each other and let the points in the series happen as it will. But they would love to have a great race today. I'd love to watch one. So let's do it. 100%. Sounds perfect.
100%.
Yep.
Well,
all right.
17 minutes to the start of that. Well, now we are in with the men's C category. Let's do a quick little look at how things stand right now with them for the series standings. It's all Grupo Compacto. I think these points are going to tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Nathan. So Luis Munier there on top of the table. It's close, though. Dominic Barnes, this is our men's C's that we're talking about. You can see that most of these guys have completed. So this is going to be interesting, folks, because most riders here, well, all four in our top four have done 4 races. But take a look at Zach Bostrom here. So let me go back to the top of the table, though, as Luis Munier taking that spot with 672 points. 649 is where Dominic Barnes is sitting in second. Andrew Billing right now in third, and he is right there. Only 42 points out of the lead. And the table has a lot of points still remaining in the next 2 races for these riders to earn. Ryan Barrowman in fourth right now. And then there's Zach Bostrom that I was mentioning. The 545 points, but only 3 races. So we'll underline that name and pay attention to Zach. And Nathan, I also will be doing a little bit of research to see if this Bostrom family is from the very famous motorcycle racing Bostrom brothers, who've been known to race bikes, mountain bikes as well. I don't know if you've ever had a chance to jump in, but I have a feeling that might be the case. Francisco Aponte, a Project Echelon, one of our educate, equipping, and empowering riders from Project Echelon in the Vanguard squad there, sitting in 6th. Steve Rogers now, after 4 races, in 7th. Kerry Tyler, 8th. John Stanley of Coalition in 9th. And then Mark Sacco rounds out our top 10 on points, but there's still a lot to race for. And it's going to be fun to see how things play out. So this is our men's C's that we're looking at. They're about 18K in now out here. 2 laps of racing on the jungle circuit. Figure 8 today. This is basically replicating what it'd be like to race in the jungle of Guatemala if it was 15 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, and this is Barnes now making a little bit of move on the front. Nicely done by D Barnes, and we'll see how this is going to play out here for him. But it's going to be a backed off 2.5 though. Not really. It was a little bit of a push in a 5 for a moment there, but it's going to be brought right back in as they're going to start their climb again here. As they do start to head uphill, it's going to be interesting to see how this ends up playing out for their second time up a climb, 18.4 kilometers in.
That's interesting to see all American flags across the right-hand side of the screen here, reminding me to thank Eric and the Project Echelon team for really the great job that they've done in building up this series and helping with the USA National Championship. That was a really cool combined effort. Everybody brought their A game to that Nationals just a couple of weeks ago, whether it was Project Echelon or Nathan and the Zwift Community Live team or USA Cycling. I think everybody came out of that one, including our riders, a winner. That's for sure, as we're now taking a look at the 5th of 6 races in that series. Things will wrap up next Saturday, but it's been really perfect. It really has. As we take we haven't mentioned yet in the broadcast, Nathan, that bikes have been neutralized today. Boy, do you see a wide array of bikes on your screen right now. We were talking before the broadcast about how the gravel bike is really the choice that most of us seem to agree on is the right choice for a course like this. I guess I don't want to speak for you, Nathan. You're an expert in that area, and I definitely use you as my guru, to tell you the truth. But this is a gravel bike day, right?
Yeah, you know what's interesting is it is at this point for sure, and the reality is that the mountain bike or the gravel bike could be used, but the mountain bike on this course might be a little bit too heavy. And now here's the thing: if they were not neutralized, so that's a whole because the bikes are neutralized, it doesn't matter. And
you could be on a Buffalo bike, and it would be the same. That's
exactly
what neutralized means, right?
Exactly. You can ride whatever you want to at this point, and it would definitely have no. And you can actually see a rider hanging out on a mountain bike in the pack here, and it's not going to be giving them any kind of advantage or anything, because the truth is that because of the reality of the bikes being neutralized. But it's kind of no bike swaps today. No bike swaps today that'll be being used.
Well, you'd be swapping to the same neutral bike, right? So it'd be a giant waste of your time.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
So when you take a look at a race like this, Nathan, those are some of the fun elements. Talk to me quickly about what the decision-making process of why is it because of the fact that some riders have leveled up to. I mean, I just happened to notice yesterday when I was riding that you're level 86 now. And that gives you access to equipment that myself at level 38 or 36, whatever it is, would never be able to get, right? Giving you a huge advantage in the racing. So do we neutralize things so it comes down to athletic performance is the key driver here?
Yeah, I think that has a lot to do with it, that they really don't want to have any kind of in-game advantage other than the athletic performance of the rider. So I think that's exactly the reason why for the neutralization.
It makes sense.
Yeah,
I mean, it really does. Because when you have a series like this, if you want to bring in new riders, if they are on the brand level 20 Zwifter and they have no access to the best equipment, that's going to be discouraging for someone to join the series.
There's a podcast conversation there to have. In other games, when you get into a PvP mode, so player versus player mode, it's a different mode of the game. So so in that other mode of the game, when you enter it, it opens up all the equipment you could possibly use. Or all of the talents, or all of the whatever it might be, and that also neutralizes the field, because you can then go ahead and select whatever equipment that you want for that specific situation. So that changes. So there's two options there, and there's different opinions out there about which options we should take to keep things less complicated, probably, and just go, hey, what do you got, and not have any kind of equipment choices necessarily. And I'm going to say equipment choices rather than use the word gamification, because specifically because I do think it comes down to equipment choices. But neutralization keeps it simple, and you do have a lot of new people too. Like, you're right, that might not want to have that hassle. Like, I just want to race my bike.
It's interesting, but I mean, you could also say in real life, right? Don't the professional riders have access to equipment that someone just starting and going into their local bike shop wouldn't have, right? I mean, all of these things are really good examples of the dynamics of sports and economy and location and so many things. And that's one of the things that I've loved about Zwift is it gives an opportunity for us to get together and race. And as you said, Nathan, we can figure out different ways to do this, but this looks really active to me right now. Going back to the racing here, as they're pushing hard. This is our C men, and they are just coming up on the middle part of this race distance-wise. They've still got well over one lap of racing out here in the jungle circuit. But Nathan, they're trying to split this group, no doubt about it. This is a big moment right now.
Yeah, and I think Echelon as well as Yerix have been pushing the pace as they head downhill a little bit, starts to separate. Also on the B men's side of things, I'm going to jump in with them, and then we'll start heading on over to the elite women to see how things are heating up in the pens with them in just a moment as well. But in the B category for the men, actually, we have had a catch. Earlier on, we had Eric Lehman off the front. The catch was made, and it's all Grupo Compacto now again. So things calming down here till they hit this climb. They do have a climb every time for the figure eight section, and I think we got a little bit of a move here by Bryant Kelly. I had a feeling that something was going to happen exactly right here.
This is our danger man, Nathan. So really good timing on that as we pick up the men who could be moving into the lead, riding for Team Wisco here. So this is going to be interesting. That BMTR, we'll do some research there. Is that the Boston Mountain team? But Bryant Kelly right now on the attack, and this is going to put some sting in the legs. You can see Eric Lehman, who is our solo leader for really the first, call it 20K of this race, is leading the chase right now. And Drea Baldi also up there. So the heavy hitters moving up to the front. This is going to be interesting, Nathan. What does this Bryant Kelly move do? Because you have to respond to this. He's the most likely rider, I believe, to take over the lead in the series. We're into the 5th of 6 races here in the Project Echelon Racing League. And I tell you what, this is a big, big moment here in the season.
Yeah, Kelly here making a move 2 seconds up the road now at this point. So it's a good move, and this could make a big difference in the overall. If he takes this win, definitely is going to bump him up in those standings. So that's exactly what he's thinking about here right now as he gets that 2 seconds. 1 second now as Manalo, the man, OTR, he tends to be the one who wants to get across. He is jumping across. A little bit. I am seeing a little bit of shake of the head there for a second from the rider off the front here with Kelly as he does. Well, they still got 1 second though, Dave. There's a gap. They could be working together if they want to, but I think they're going to shut it down.
Yeah, well, we're going to find out in the next 30 seconds or so what the motivation is going to be. Interesting moment here. This is going to be spicy, no doubt about it here as we move into. I mean, it's early to call this the finale. There's the catch being made. So Neusbauer has been impressive, no doubt about it. He looks like he was taking a lot of the responsibility there. Some of the other riders being cagey. Nathan sitting back in this peloton here, not taking the responsibility for that work. And once the work is done, they benefit greatly on that decision. So a lot of give and take right now in this group.
Yeah, interesting to see. Now they do head on by that little, you see that level 10 lock there? That's the expansion as the streamer count's not.
What's behind there?
We're not allowed in. Everybody else is kind of allowed in unless they're not level 10. But good to see these riders now finishing up one lap. They're gonna have one more to go as they do finish up this lap in the B men category. Nice little move there made, but now settling right on down.
They've already done 239 meters of climbing, so this really is a challenging day. This course wears on you, doesn't it? Relentless.
Yeah, it does. 26.7 K done, 39 minutes. So they're going to be racing for about an hour, I would say in 15, because the lead in is on there as well.
Yeah, a significant lead in as well on this course. I don't remember a whole lot of racing out here, so it's really fun to see this. Looks like another rider just positioning themselves in this group. It's still so early for an attack now. talking about tactics now, Nathan, in this group, this is where not necessarily the classic negative racing, but there's got to be 4 or 5 riders in this peloton that are thinking they've got a chance to win this series. But if you play your cards too early, you're not going to help your chances, actually. It's going to be being patient and waiting to pick up those points at the end of the race, but not getting out in front of your skis here, blowing yourself up before that critical moment.
100%. Well, now they're going to be looking toward another climb here in just a moment. It'd be interesting to see how that's going to play out, as they are definitely watching closely for each other. As now, Dave, the moves are going to come here fast and furious, I think, though, in this B category in just a moment. They're definitely starting to watch each other and know that there's only so many climbs left out here on a figure 8. So they're going to head all the way to the top, and then they're going to figure 8 their way back down and around, and then all the way to the top again, and then back down and around again. So there's these 2 main climbs that they have out in front of them out here today, and this is the first of those 2.
Yeah, you pretty much in this race are doing the entire jungle, all the roads, both directions in a lot of ways. This is a wild course to be racing on out here. This group's starting to string out a little bit. I have a feeling, Nathan, these guys are feeling the pressure now. You watch everybody sitting, well, close to or over 4 watts per kilo. I think it's about to go to another level out here.
Yeah, here goes Neubauer. This is a little bit of a move, that's for sure. Starting to try and press the pace now. Daniel here, nicely done with that little kick. It's 362 watts, as you're saying here. I'm not sure that that's actually, is that actually Daniel, or do you recognize that individual as he's making a move off the front right now?
I don't recognize that individual, so I'm going to go with...
Maybe.
That's interesting.
It might be. It might be. I'm wondering if there's a World Tour number on this rider or not. That's the thing. Or maybe that's actually
Well, you
Daniel.
know what? Actually, that is Daniel. The reason I first, there's some clues here, like I believe Daniel must be a high-level master racer and is competing in something like the Master World Championships in that event right there.
Yeah. Good call. Actually, I think it is. I think you're 100% right there too, Dave. I mean, we do have some in-cam actually with Daniel, so and that looks a lot like him from what I'm seeing here from in real life, but looking to try and make a little bit of move. Baumgartner now off the front.
All right, well, here you go. You can see those gaps opening up. It just got real. And, yeah, the quality of this field is sky high. A couple of riders now fighting to hold on, and they are doing a really good job here. Such an interesting moment now as we still have a lot of racing ahead of us. Do they want to split this group? It looks like the answer is yes.
Yeah, definitely here. Now, this is Daniel in the lower left-hand corner here trying to make this move with Manalo off the front there. You can see the suffering a little bit on the face. This is the main climb out here every single lap. And 6.5, 5 watts per kilogram down the front, as you can see here, as Daniel's trying to hang on to Manalo's trying making the moves.
Yeah, it's not that the climb is so steep. It's just the grind that you're under right now. The pressure that they're putting on the pedals is immense, and riders are starting to pop. It's amazing, though, the resilience that we're seeing as they then fight right back into this group.
Yeah, and the instigator here is our friend Baumgartner is actually the one was making a little bit of the moves here just a moment ago. Now it's been caught and brought back into the fold here at this point. The dirt rider, I wonder where this is at, in the garage hanging out. It's got plenty of it's got a fat bike back there as well, it looks like. So snow rider as well.
A very Wisconsin vibe to this garage.
There's a lot of Wisconsin vibes going on actually here across all this. Like, looking familiar.
I need to seize a snowblower, and I know.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's good stuff here coming from this B category, and they're definitely putting on a show here for us as they push things along and up and out of the saddle here. Jeff now pushes the pace again.
Yeah, well, and I mean, it seems like the second that somebody decides that they're not going to push the pace, another rider steps up and takes over. There is no rest for the weary out here today for our men's bees as they rapidly come up on 30K into what's just under 46K of racing. What's really important here is they're out on the last lap. The gradient starting to back off just a little bit now here. This is the Gravel Zwift World Championships really should be held on this course.
That's a good Gravel Zwift Championships. That'll be an interesting one.
We can host that.
If it's the
that
spirit,
sounds like Zwift Community Live.
I wonder if that's going to be the spirit of what that's all about here. Women's elites here about to take off. And let's see how they attack this start here, Dave. We've got Guerra and Gallegos. They are definitely both here showing up and ready to go. Holly Bergen's here as well, though, Dave.
Okay.
And we've got Sarah Roach is here. LB Jackie Godby. Mallory McRosty has showed up. WLC. Lehman's here as well. This is definitely a strong field. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out here today.
Well, this is a great opportunity for riders like Mallory McRosty or Holly Burgeon, for example. They're really strong. This is a strong field. If you take a win out here today, that's a quality win, no doubt about it. Obviously, we'll be talking, well, Jackie Godby, as you just said, Nathan, is here. It's been really nice to see one of the all-time greats in esports racing, Jackie Godby, and I get the feeling that things are starting to come good in her world as well. You can't expect any athlete in any sport to be at their platinum standard all of the time. There's going to be ups and downs. Life happens, and Jackie has been, over the last month, I've felt a new energy around her racing. So we'll see what she can pull up today. Elise Gallegos, Nathan, she's been one of the best stories we've had all year. Really fun to see what she's been doing with this sport. The world-class triathlete has already turned herself into a world-class esports racer. And I truly think, Nathan, she's going to become one of those cornerstone racers. For as long as she wants to make that commitment, much like a Kristen Kolchinski, she should be representing the United States at the World Championships and the biggest events and be in the top shelf of riders, the top tier. And we could keep going with this list of riders. This is where the series stands. Elise Gallegos on top of the table. Sarah Roach. Nathan, Sarah just ran the Houston Marathon last week. I happened to see on socials her time, just over 3 hours for the Houston Marathon. A 3-hour marathon is a world-class, Sarah. Truly impressive. So the Houston-based rider there impressing us. It's Julia Lehman, the Canadian, in third on points, and she's in the field here. So I haven't seen Sarah Roach's. Oh, yeah, Sarah's there. So good. She took the start as well. So our top three riders, Nathan, have all taken the start here in the fifth of 6 races in the Echelon Racing League series. Gabby Guerra, well, obviously, you might recognize that name. She's part of the Zwift Community Live family, a big part of the family. Sitting there with only 3 races, though, she and Kolchinski had one of the best battles that we've ever seen out here that really kicked off the Echelon Racing League. I would say that was the definitive moment that the league really arrived, both KK and GG. Out there. Stephanie Sidlick, SS, they're in 6th place now with 530 points, although I haven't seen her name today on the start list. Liz Van Howling sitting there in 7th on points. Jackie Godby, who is racing out here in 8th. Bronwyn McGregor, the New Zealander, in 9th. And then Holly Burgeon, we do know, is starting. Good to have the next rider with us racing out of the United Kingdom. But Holly has become a Zwifter of note. But Nathan, back to the action here as it looks like a bit of a selection's already been made with Gabby, Elise, Julia, Mallory, and Holly up in there, and Sarah Roach in the blue jersey there.
Yeah, it's a big lead-in too, Dave. So they're going to be going for about 7K before they actually start the main loop. And I have a feeling they're all going to be kind of watching each other. This is almost a controlled start. It's not actually a controlled start, but the way that they're riding this with the long downhill into the beginning of the first lap, I think the way that the riders are going to be really watching this is waiting for that first climb before this race really starts. On course, on paper, you've got this lead in, and it's almost as if there's a lead car.
I was just going to say
right?
that. Stuart O'Grady is waiting to wave the flag to start the Tour Down Under here. But you know what, Nathan? I've seen it plenty of times in racing. There's no verbal, it's an understanding amongst competitors that this doesn't need to go all 46K. Why don't we ride neutral for a little bit, just get ourselves into the race before the first attacks happen? And I'm all for that.
100%. And
no.
Jackie's internet's going crazy. We did see. We had some. And you know what may happen here? And she actually was messaging a little bit prior to this about this, and I got some information from Gabby as she's hangs out on the team with her with Riot, and let us know that her internet is gonna be like a ghost power up today. They literally had contacted her, let her know that the internet's gonna have struggles today, and she may suddenly show back up because her plan, it sounds like, is to just ride hard when she disappears and hope she's still with the pack. So she may be attacking off the front right now, actually.
Wouldn't it be crazy if we came into the last 1K and all of a sudden Jackie popped up and she was 10 seconds in the lead?
Right?
It wouldn't be beyond imagination either. Jackie, she is, Nathan, if we have enough time here today, if we had a Hall of Fame of esports racers, and I'm just talking Americans right now, but amongst the Americans, Jackie Godby is a first ballot Hall of Famer all day long in my book.
Yeah, 100%. She's absolutely awesome, and I
Good
love it
attitude.
that we have her here again with us in the broadcast as well as in racing out on Zwift. It's been a little while, and I think that she's starting to come good again.
Yeah, she has one of those jobs that's mind-blowing in the intensity, the requirements to even be qualified to be a radiologist. So Jackie Godby is the complete human, that's for sure. So, Jackie, I hope everything works out. She's in St. Louis now, and St. Louis, a town known for terrible internet.
Really? I didn't know that.
Oh, I'm just kidding.
Jeez.
Jackie, you'd be like,
serious.
what?
I thought you were serious. I was like, oh, man. Gallegos here in cam. You can see got a great setup, it looks like here. I like the way that she has positioned the Zwift setup, actually. There's something to that a little bit with looking slightly downward at it and on the attack almost. Can get into a good position.
Nathan, I was just talking about this the other day with someone. It's almost like you're riding downhill mentally, right? It's a psychological thing, and it might not work for everybody, but similar to the way like a running back in football, you like to think that you're running downhill. It just gives you more momentum. Same thing. Elise's setup is really professional, I would say. She's not overdoing it. She just has the bare necessities that a racer needs. Nothing extra, nothing unnecessary. I haven't seen a lot. That's a heart rate monitor that she's wearing on her forearm there. Oh, well, she has a couple things going on, but that's something new that not using. Or is she using a chest strap as well?
Perhaps. I don't know. I mean,
I believe that it's just that there's a new style of the heart rate monitors, Nathan, that are using a different location of the body, which certainly makes sense to me. Taking a look now at our front group, just to quickly help you out. Well, Zwift helps a lot too, but that's Julia Lehman, who is one of the riders that's really come on strong here over the last year. Absolutely keep an eye on Julia here, the Canadian. The Brazilian flag is Gabby Guerra. How far is Gabby away from you right now? Within 10 feet, Nathan?
Yeah, within 10 feet.
She's right there?
Right there. Keeping it calm for sure. So you might be able to see me in the background as well if we do bring her camera in. I'm trying to keep my feet warm at this point is what's going on here. But there's Gabby. And looking pretty calm still at this point. I think everybody's just kind of watching each other for their quote-unquote warm-up. I think in here, Gabby at this point would like it to warm up a little bit more as far as the racing goes, because it's definitely getting cool in here currently around, I think, 58 degrees is probably what we're going to be getting down to.
It's interesting, Nathan. How much work have you done in trying to figure out what the optimum temperature is to race in?
It's between 58 and 62. That's really where we think it gets a little bit. Once you get below that, you better be going really, really hard the whole time. Otherwise, you end up too cold when you calm down.
That's fascinating. So, when you go to the velodrome, they heat them up because it's faster, right? It's not about the physiology of your engine. It's about that the air is thinner and easier to cut through. Well, in Zwift, that's not anything to worry about, is it? So the temperature and the amount of oxygen in the air are really two of the huge things. Elise Gallegos, I would say the breakthrough star of Zwift, not American breakthrough star, but worldwide breakthrough star. When Elise gets all the pieces put together, which is literally happening in front of our eyes, she's going to be one of those riders, let's say Zwift Games coming up in late February, early March, Nathan. Elise Gallegos might just shock the world and win Zwift Games. That's not out
that's
of
that's a big one. But I could see on a climb and
it's
she,
not impossible.
She threatened on, if it's an epic day, I think those are the days to watch out for Elise. I really do. I think those
harder and longer is better for her.
Exactly.
Right.
I really think that's where it's at. And we saw it in Innsbruck, and I think we may be able to see it in Zwift Games. We'll see how that goes for sure. Now, so the ladies, I think they're going to start their first lap here. This has been their lead-in, all calm, and they're going to be getting into their climb here in just a moment. But the men's race here in the B category is now really starting to kick off. I just saw an attack go off the front with Manalo as it's into 37.4K of racing down. They've got about a little over 10K to go here at this point as they start their final climb.
A tough 10K, Nathan. So this race started 56 minutes ago. We're just getting our elite women out onto course. Now, this is going to be our our Bs, our Cs, and our Ds for the men and women, the fifth race of the season. I want to hang out with Dan. Dan Manalo has had a great attitude, and the only thing, when I look at Dan, I feel like that's Hawaii, but then I'm checking myself and saying it's not. We're going to have to find out where Dan lives, Nathan.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Is that Hawaii?
Good question. I'm trying to find information here, but I don't think we have an update on him. Yeah, and figure that one out.
It's 80 degrees. He may be
just visiting somewhere
today.
Too, though. That could just be.
That's true. That could be vacation. That's a good point.
A little bit of a move off the front now. Counter here coming from Baumgartner, the dirt rider. Team Wisco here following that very quickly with Bryant as these guys want to get rid of the sprinters. I actually saw a message coming on through from Bryant that he does not want the sprinters with them. So I think a few of these riders, including Baumgartner, are going to start pressing the pace to see if they can try and get rid of some of those who've got a little bit more of a kick.
I love that. Does not want the sprinters with him. Who would? Right? When you think about it, that's the name of the game, is to be the fastest guy left in the group. The best way to go about that is to solo win. It's just, unfortunately, that's the hardest thing to do in sport. So the next best is try to eliminate your danger men. That's cycling here, this Machiavellian chess match that we're looking at. We go inside of 10K, and these moves become even more significant. Baumgartner has been phenomenal out here today, but the guy who's been just all over this race has been Andrea Baldi. Nathan, you can see that Italian flag there next to Baldi's name, and to me, he's one of the riders that you've got to pay extra special attention to. Put a gold star next to that name for this finale, as he's one of the riders that has a good chance to win out here today. As they're really moving into that mode, you can see that the C's now they're about 13K from the finish out on their last lap in the Mayan jungle. The B's, again, they're down to it. 7K to go here as the first attack is coming from Elise Gallegos. Nathan, the quad screen, you've been doing so much work behind the scenes there, and on a day like today, the quad screen really is beneficial. We've got some riders going into their finale. Some races are hotting up out here right now, like the elite women that you've got on your screen.
Yeah, Elise Gallegos, the moment that it started going uphill, she said, okay, enough is enough. It's time to start pressing the pace here, as you can see. And Lehman jumps right on the wheel there immediately to Gallegos. Does not want to let that go. McRusty hasn't really been a part of all of the races so far, but it's good to see Mallory here, and we'll see what she can try and make happen as she's showing up on the day.
Mallory has been racing esports for a couple of years, but also has been racing in real life and has really represented the Echelon Racing League's women's team for Echelon Racing. She's got talent out of Arizona and is doing the work. Not a flash in the pan. After, you see riders who show up with talent, but then that next phase, Nathan, is how committed are you to what is a very challenging sport and lifestyle? Nothing comes easy on the bike once you get to the elite level. I get it. Some folks have natural talent and show up and you just happen to be better than most. But as you rise through the ranks, that natural talent still matters, but the work ethic and the commitment comes into play in a major way. And there's a great example of one of my all-time favorite athletes, Gabby Guerra here. Gabby has done so much work. And Nathan, I know that's your wife, but she has also been an incredible addition to this community. One of the most supportive women for women out there. And that's been one of the things that's been really great to watch, is the way that the women in this sport pick each other up. They always say you want to be that woman that straightens the other woman's crown but doesn't tell the world. Well, that's Gabby.
Dave, Godby's internet has come back. She's 7 seconds off the front.
Jackie's, you mean?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Jackie
That's
Godby.
insane.
Yeah.
I almost predicted it. I said 10, and I said it was going to be later in the race, but that's insane.
Are you so she's got this is crazy. Like, she's got about a half a K here at this point. So when she disappeared, she just went all in. They're going to have to chase Jackie Godby now.
So, Nathan, can you very quickly, as my Zwift expert here, so Jackie's internet has been going in and out, but she's been able to keep riding on Zwift. So even though that they don't see her, she has no idea. So she's riding blind is the best way to put it. She doesn't know where they are. They don't know where she is, but somehow she stays connected to the event. When her internet kicks back in, all of a sudden it'll show everybody where she is. Am I getting that right?
Yeah, and we'll see how this ends up playing out. I mean, if there's not a complaint from the riders, then perhaps it'll all be fine. But then, at the end of the day, the riders might be like, well, we got to be able to see a rider, so it's kind of a difficult situation. I've brought this up in the broadcast before. It's kind of like old school Halo, when people would hit their network card and say, okay, we're going to make ourselves disappear in order to, get, some sort of advantage or something. But I don't, that's not what Godby's up to here. She's not trying to get this advantage. It's actually, she's suffering while not knowing where she is or the other riders are at, actually. So she's got no idea whatsoever where the other riders are while she's just pushing, hoping she's still a part of the race. It just happens to be a race that was very calm up front.
Right. So that was Mallory McRusty there pushing the pace. Let's give you an update now as you can see Gabby there, the beautiful Brazilian flag. Sarah Roach, great job, Sarah. Boy, Sarah's work ethic is something I want to embrace. Even if I could get halfway there, it'd really improve my life, as she never shies away from these huge efforts. And so that's going to be Sarah Roach there in the light blue jersey. I mentioned Mallory McRusty is the Project Echelon rider. But Jackie Godby, Nathan, okay, now it's looking. So Jackie now is at 52 seconds back behind this group.
No, I believe she's actually
ahead, 53
ahead.
Up. Excuse me.
Yeah, ahead at this point. So I don't know how that's going to end up playing out here. On the downhill, they'll most likely be able to bring some of that back here, actually.
Well, and she's had no draft. So, I mean, she's done, we're only 12K in, and Jackie's a world-class athlete, but even Jackie is a human. So the fact that group of women behind her have been working, it's not a huge peloton, but they've been able to relay each other a little bit. You would think that's going to be McRusty just being brought back into the fold with the peloton as we make our way over the Mayan Bridge. So the workload that Jackie Godby's taken on in this bizarre scenario has been immense, but everybody will pay a price for that. And I think that Jackie realizes that this is a
real
pretty
attacks
unique
happening
scenario.
here now. Here we go. Gabby now on the attack, making a serious move. 8 watts per kilogram kicking here, up and out of the saddle. Got a little bit of a gap. Gallegos responds. Roach responds as well. We can see Lehman now off the back just a little bit now here, Dave. The pack is starting to splinter just a tad, as you can see here. Gallegos, Roach, now everyone's going to stay in contact. I don't know if it's in Gabriella's favor to, get a couple off the front here. I mean, she's putting some sting in the legs, though.
Really tough racing in a 5-rider group like this with the dynamics completely changed. It really is an every woman for herself scenario here. And it's like being in a breakaway that's still 30K from the finish, but there's no chance of being caught by a peloton. So the game playing is going to be at a really high level. And it looks like Sarah Roach is going to take her turn moving up to the front as they bring back Gabrielle. Was Gabby maybe just lifting the pace, Nathan, to keep it more in her advantage and her wheelhouse? Is all of these women, though. I mean, if you're riding in this group, you like racing at a high, hard level.
100%, and I think she's just trying to make sure that doesn't get too out of control. I think to lift the pace, make sure nobody's just sitting around, and just make sure that everybody's still staying attentive. It's a good little, and you don't want everyone to just kind of like be able to get a free ride, cruise control. No, that's danger. Yep. That's dangerous to race that way if there isn't any kind of fatigue building up in the legs. Actually, that if you race that way, you're asking for trouble later on in a race.
100%, Nathan. Couldn't agree more. You've got to keep stirring the pot out there, and that's exactly what we see Gabby Garrett doing. Mallory McRosty, to her credit, has been doing the same thing out here, the racer out of Arizona. So that's what's going on with our elite women's race. That throwdown well underway. They're 13K in. The men not that far off from taking their start. That'll be the final race to roll out here for 46K of racing as we're out on the very challenging course today, the Serpentine 8. So Nathan, back with the bees now, and it's finale time. We are locked in here as, let's call it a little over a K and a half until this one is done and dusted.
100%. They're going to be sprinting here in just a moment, Dave. Baumgartner, they weren't able to get rid of all the sprinters, I don't think, as Baumgartner's sitting in here, and I don't think he's too happy to see who has still made it here. If we get I'll see if we can get a good look here in just a second at exactly who in this rider list is to be ones to watch out for, Dave, for the sprint to the line. As we heard from Bryant, not happy about who's made it, perhaps.
Yeah, well, and that's an interesting scenario now, because here we go. If you're in this group, I think you're sprinting with this group. Eric Lehman is still here. He's the man that went on the attack to start this race. At one point, he had a 22-second advantage, and here he is still active. Nussbauer, the German, another rider you got to keep an eye on. You can feel it now. This is where you're depressing that accelerator slowly. It's going down to the floorboard, and then all of a sudden it hits the bottom, and it is on like Donkey Kong. Here we go, Nathan. They have hit out with a 30 into the final few hundred meters.
Yeah, and Drummond goes really early, actually. The hoodlum, holy cow, absolutely flying here. He's got a 1 second gap. Dan Manalo now on the move here, trying to close it down. Is he going to be able to do so now? Manalo now 10 watts per kilogram, 10 watts per kilogram. Here he comes. Now it's going to be Bryant Kelly. Bryant Kelly now with the kick, kicking hard now. Is he going to be able to come on through? I think perhaps Bryant Kelly might be able to do this. One last kick to the line from him is what's going to be needed. Not sure it's going to be able to happen, though. Bryant Kelly, BMTR. No, Manalo, I think he's just able to hold on at this point. Daminado taking it down to the line. That's the B category for ERL. Race number 5, dusted for sure, as they kick it up in the jungle.
Dusted, right. But Nathan, I think that Bryant there will get the points needed. We'll have to wait and see our tables, but I think that was great for him. Sure, he wanted the win, but that should be enough points to move him onto the top of the table after 5 of 6 races here in the Project Echelon series. So
yeah, nicely done there.
That was a
from
good
Manalo
finish.
And Bryant, Bryant really marked his man, got the lead out a little bit there, and was able to, I think, get a good advantage over the rest of the field with the marking that he did.
Wow. All right. So let's go ahead then and take a deep breath as the B men have finished 1 hour, 9 minutes, just under 1 hour and 9 minutes of racing. That's a long day in the saddle, but they made quick work of a tough course out here. We're looking at 6K to go. This is Maggie Carden of the Dinos team that we're in with, and this is our front group. So Radomski's still here. Angela Pitzer is still here. So this group of 5, Clark, and let's see, I'm missing one, Giles.
Yeah, it's going to be Bostrom. Bostrom Giles here is the other rider that is in with us. So now as they make their way up this climb, nobody really on the attack. Carden here perhaps has been making some moves as best as she possibly could, I think, throughout the entirety of the race. She's been on the attack and has not been able to get rid of Clark, who is the main opponent, I think, for her out here today. Rondowski is also there in the overall standings. Also somebody to be thinking about here when it comes into the final here. And Dave, this is a little bit longer race than they've been used to, so I have a feeling things may change up at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Everything changes after an hour of racing on Zwift, without a doubt. It's a whole different kind of athlete as we make our way over the Mayan Bridge here.
Quick reminder, just want to do a quick little reminder. Let's get the C women here for where Carden, Clark, Rondowski, 1 row. That's the situation. 1 row off the back now at this point, though. Pitzer had some good results as well, but only 3 races, and she has made this front group as the attacks start to go over the top of the bridge a little bit here.
So top 3 on points in our season-long table are all in this group. So I think that's really going to be the focus now here.
Yeah, 100%, as it is going to be Carden now, 1.9 watts per kilogram, calming down as they punch over the top here of this little climb. It's going to be downhill mainly from here on out, Dave. 6K to go to the line. Carden backs off as Pitzer now sits in after a little punch over the bridge. No teammates, Dave, so it's every woman for herself.
Yeah, I'm just digging in now as, again, women see to look and see who on paper, going to Zwift Power, is the best sprinter in this group. And also, Nathan, let's talk about the advantage that you have if you're here to win the race today for someone like Angela Pitzer, right? If she attacks, is there that half-second hesitation knowing that she's not the danger woman in the points for this series? And can she take advantage of that here?
Yeah, that's a good point, because the other ladies, they might just say, forget it, I'm not chasing. But I think there's enough,
the other riders,
there's enough, I think,
momentum,
just will to win, probably. I would call it I'm not letting that go. I'm going to keep that within striking distance. I don't know. Unless they're really thinking about that.
If I'm, from Susan's perspective, Susan Clark, right? If I see Angela Pitzer attack, my first instinct is to let Maggie Carden chase it.
Yep. It's a good point. Dave.
And then that's how you get these gaps, right? Is so they have to have that moment of hesitation. Then, and you've talked about this, Nathan, where once you go out 2 seconds, you're no longer giving a draft to riders that are chasing you, and it's a whole different ball game with an attack. When they're in and out of your slipstream and right there, the attack isn't definitive enough. But with like this right here,
that's exactly what's going on here.
Let's see how it plays out. It's still a ways to go. We're looking at 4.5K of racing remaining. But Angela knows exactly. She's a savvy racer, national champion, someone who's been on Zwift quite a bit in her life, and she definitely knows how the game is played.
Here's the 2 riders now. It's going to be Carden and Pitzer. If they do come to the line together, it's fairly even, Dave. I mean, Pitzer doesn't have quite as much of a kick, but I mean, Maggie Carden versus Angela Pitzer is quite the matchup, and they are going to the line together perhaps. They're off the front now at this point. They've got almost... They just go back and forth across the power profile, essentially. At their 15 seconds, just a little advantage to Maggie. At the 1 minute, little bit to Angela. Then you go to 5, little bit to Maggie, and we go back the other way on the 20. Pretty cool to see, actually, as they now try to make a move out the front. They are just caught, though.
Yeah, if I was drafting riders, I would have to look at the market price of platinum and gold and then just base it on whichever was higher, because those two are definitely evenly matched. Here we go. These are the danger women of this race. Our C race in a throwdown mode now. This is going to be really fun. This doesn't decide the season either. We do have one more race next week to wrap up the Echelon Racing League. Huge thank you to Echelon Racing League. I mean, when you talk about educate, equip, and empower, well, they are doing that all over the states these days as they support veterans who really deserve it. And one of the things that keeps people from getting into cycling or Zwift is equipment, and they help a lot of good folks with that. So, well, the Mayans were known, I was talking about at the top of the broadcast, for time and calendars and certainly amazing pyramids like you see in the background. But also they were known for amazing ability to endure. And that's what it's going to take to win out here today. We're down to 3K of racing for our C women.
Megan Carden back to the front, covering things, not making sure nobody's going much of anywhere as they wrap their way around this Serpentine final. As look at this Mayan section here, as they're going to go underneath this little, what would you call this? I mean, it's not an underground. It is a half-built pyramid structure.
Subterranean.
Yeah, subterranean. I mean, that's an interesting,
like the Seattle Underground, right?
We'll call it ruins. I think we're going to call those
Ruins.
Mayan ruins as they head underneath here. And a little bit of a bridge section, beautiful water. As they're not thinking about that, though. They're thinking about what wheel am I holding on to, as the parrot on the left-hand side encourages them on.
Boy, if they said, hey, Dave, you have to move to Long Beach and choose a world to work on or live in, this one is fascinating to me, and it might be my favorite. You know, so many of the Zwift worlds replicate, whether it's Richmond or London, in real-life places, and this is basically a lot of imagination being thrown into the Mayan world. I guess technically this would be, like Guatemala, kind of, but definitely Central America.
Yeah, Pitts are now on the move again a little bit. 5.3 watts per kilogram, covering 181 beats per minute here, currently coming from Angela Pitzer now, as she really tries to press the pace up and over the top of this little bit of a punch now. And Pitzer gets a little bit of a gap. Can they respond to her? It's a big question mark now.
Her heart rate sat over 180 so the whole time that we've been with her. Really amazing how hard she is working on the front, trying to take an advantage, just find that crack the code as far as winning out of this really challenging group. Maggie Carden now, Nathan, surging past and taking back over for the Dinos team. So Radomski's been very, very smart about the way that she's been riding, not burning any extra watts here, sitting in the group, staying in the wheels. I certainly think that benefits her in the finale of this race.
Yeah, Radomski, look at this here now, Dave. This is a pressure moment, and I think they're trying to whittle this down. They don't want all of these riders to be coming to the line with them. Here's Megan Radomski here now with a partner in picture, it looks like here, but good to see that she's able to hang on with these two very, very talented women. That is Angela Pitzer and Carden. There's 1 second now. They have dropped Clark, so that's going to be to Radomski's favor, because Radomski, Dave, she's actually in third place overall at this point. That benefits her.
Absolutely, Nathan, and Carden as well. Maggie Carden, they're both going to be excited about that. They've only got a little 1.5K of racing remaining. So here we go. This is big, not only for this event, but for the series as well. We're down to 3. We are locked and loaded. Pitzer, Carden, and Radomski. Radomski now, really, this is a huge opportunity to climb up our leaderboard.
Yeah, and Dave, if she's able to take down the sprint, that's pretty big for her here, Dave. I mean, and her versus Carden becomes the conversation because they're in the top 3 here at this moment.
The difference between a win and second is 10 points.
She's got a better sprint, Dave. She's got a better sprint. She doesn't have the better 20, but she has the better kick. The question is whether or not the energy reserves are there.
Yeah, better 20. That ship sailed. She survived that, Nathan. It's going to come down to who's the better sprinter. Now, what she really, really wants now is Pitzer to finish second. If you're Megan Radomski and you can win, the numbers are actually perfect when you look at this table, but 200 for the win, 190 for second, 180 for third. So with that being said, 20-point delta, 20-point gain possible for Radomski here in this finale.
Well, and now
That's
we
the
do see
perfect
Bostrom
scenario.
trying to get back involved, 4 seconds back off in the distance, but they're about to make the kick here. Carden, is she just going to be the lead out? It's really getting cagey here. It's a right-hand turn, then a little left-hand bend, Dave. We're in the last couple hundred meters now at this point, and Radomski starts to ramp things up.
Yeah, all right. Well, here we go. As a ballistic move is going to be coming, it's like a ticking. There it is. Maggie Carden has hit out. Let's see how they respond, Nathan. Let's see what Pitzer. So getting out in front of her. Here comes Radomski.
Radomski, 10 watts per kilogram with the final kick to the line here. Pitzer unable to respond. It looks like Radomski's going to make it happen. Dave, we said she's got the better kick. Spins it up, and it's going to be Radomski taking this one down. Carden for second, Pitzer for third. Giles going to be coming across the line here now for fourth place. Nice job from Bostrom Giles, but in coalition, but it's Radomski that takes it down. What a kick to the line. Well done, Megan Radomski.
That was huge, and well done is almost underselling it as they come underneath the world's heaviest finish line. Trust there. So, wow. All right, we'll have a chance, and the points will be tabulated, and we'll see what happens there, but obviously Megan Radomski's got to be ecstatic with that performance. So we're going to go now finishing up the women's. That was the women's C's, that just came across the line. The women's A's, it looks like, are all together here. So we're going to jump in with Gabby, and let's see who's still. So Jackie Godby, Nathan, is 129 up the road.
Yeah,
right now.
It's a big,
so very quickly,
it's a big gap,
to explain what Nathan was saying earlier, is there's a chance that this result, because of nothing to do with poor Jackie, what she's doing, but the internet has created a scenario where we're not necessarily sure that will stand. I'm not necessarily sure it won't either. But that being said, Jackie Godby is a workhorse out there. As you can see, I mean, she's 1.2K up the road, Nathan, and still making more watts than anyone else in this race. So that's, with Jackie, we've come to know and expect these superhuman performances, but it just comes with a bit of an asterisk today with the bizarre scenario. That's going to be Elise Gallegos leading this group that we're in with now. Julia Lehman, the Canadian there, sitting right on her wheel, but Sarah Roach still in full effect with Gabby Guerra and Mallory McRosty. And it's going to be Holly Bergen chasing now, leading chase one.
Yeah, and this has been a lot of attacks actually were taking place here just a moment ago, actually about the same exact time that the sprint for the ladies was going down in the C category. We did see some pretty big attacks, all covered though, and nobody dropped off. I think it was a couple of kind of danger moments for a couple of riders, but mainly all able to hang on.
Right. So, and I'm going to think that this stabilizes now with this group of five that we've got on screen. And boy, I mean, look at the numbers that Jackie's putting up there, Nathan. I wonder, in her mind now, is she just going completely all in one of the greatest time trial rides in Zwift history?
Yeah, I think that. I mean, she's essentially just in time trial mode. I think at this point,
sure.
That's exactly what's
what
going
else
on
could she
here.
be in?
Yeah, I
right.
think that's really all that she's really focused on is just get into time trial mode, make sure that she's got the pace high to what she can handle all the way through without blowing up. Gallegos now, though, this is going to be every lap here, Dave. These sections, it's all that they have to work with are these climbs. There's about 4 climbs per lap of the Serpentine 8, and they're taking advantage of them each and every time as Gallegos now kicks into this Mayan ruins just now.
It reminds me back in the old days when you were at the old Course Classic or events like that where the Colombians would come over and you're in a race with guys that you know that there's a certain kind of terrain that suits them so well that when you get there, it's lights out. And I still feel like Elise Gallegos is going to be able to make something like that happen out here. She hasn't fully committed yet. But when she does, it's going to be a game changer, and we'll see how the women can respond as she is. This course, maybe not tailor-made for Elise Gallegos, but I have a feeling that a lot of what this course brings is right in her wheelhouse. How about Gabby Guerra today? Legend status unlocked a long time ago by Gabby, as she's very well could be the woman to beat, to be honest, right now. Gabby's been doing so much work over the last, it's not really, I was going to say last few weeks, last few months, and I realized, no, it's really the last few years that this woman has completely committed to making herself into a world-class athlete, and she's succeeded.
Yeah, a little bit of a gap here now. Gallegos here trying to respond. It looks like 7 watts per kilogram there coming from Guerra. Guerra now 5 watts per kilogram, really ramping up the pace. 52 kilometers per hour. Gallegos now going across, Dave, and this might be a 2-up time trial between the two in just a moment. Lehman here trying to respond. 4.3 watts per kilogram. The gap's there, and interesting that the moment that she went was actually into the downhill, Dave.
That I don't know when that joke becomes officially old or stale, but downhills are the new uphill. Nathan, you got to zig when they zag, and attacking on a downhill gravel course, you got to be out of your mind, and that's exactly how you win a bike race on Zwift. So good job, Gabby. Gabby Guerra and Elise Gallegos are our leaders, but look at this. Look who's coming. It is going to be Sarah Roach. Sarah Roach is a fighter. Always has been, always will be. Nobody puts baby in a corner, and that's going to be Sarah Roach getting back up into that group. And I don't know, Nathan, is she going to be the last rider to be able to tag into what's being done right now by Gabby Guerra and Elise Gallegos? I'm fully recognizing that Jackie Godby is still sitting about a kilometer up the course right now, but this is really the intensity of the racing. That's Sarah Roach. We're in at Houston. This woman just ran a 3-hour marathon in Houston, which is a very reputable marathon, the Chevron Houston Marathon. So clearly she's got the depth, Nathan. The longer this race goes, and we're already 40 minutes in, just over halfway, longer it goes, the better it is for athletes like Roach, Gallegos, and Guerra, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, Lehman now coming back alongside of McRosty. So it's all back together here as the pace settles right on down. Those three able to get together here for a moment, but now, Dave, I think the real race is really just starting, Dave. They're starting their second lap at this point, and I think it's going to be nonstop attacks over and over again here. And Guerra, she's done with it. She wants to make this race hard.
Well, and it looks like she's just throwing down the gauntlet here. One to go. As you can see, the giant waterfall behind her. She is a Watt wagon, but it's going to be Elise Gallegos covering. Gallegos gets up to Guerra, and now it's just body blow after body blow being thrown by these women. And guess who's sitting right there? Every now and then you get two dogs fighting for a bone, and the third one will come and take it. That could be Sarah Roach out here today. Sarah Roach does not seem to be having a whole bunch of trouble, Nathan, responding to these moves from two of the world-class racers here. Guess what? When you're able to go blow for blow with the world-class racers, you're a world-class racer. So great job out here today, Sarah Roach. So Guerra, Gallegos, and Roach, that's your first three. McRosty getting up there. Great job by McRosty, now the rider out of Arizona. That's impressive. As you said, Nathan, we haven't seen her a ton. So to jump into the deep end of the pool with these ladies, super impressive ride by Mallory today.
Yeah, Garrett now continuing on the attack here. Mallory trying to hang on. She is there still, but now as they do start to climb, Garrett really starting to put the pace on. It does look like Gallegos is able to come across here. Sarah Roach just a little bit after back, actually. Now Roach now struggling a little bit to stay on turns. Interesting enough. That's actually surprising to me a little bit here as Garrett continues to absolutely demolish this pace now at this point. 5.4 watts per kilogram. McRosty trying to hang on for WLC. Specifically, I think the work right now here, Dave, is being done for Gallegos. The two WLC riders here needing to hold on to that wheel.
How about, Mallory, incredible, but we got to go back to the front of this race, and Gabby now starting to turn the screws. This is going to be Gallegos that we're looking at now Elise, who's really emerged as a talent to focus on as far as USA Cycling goes, and this is going to be a big challenge for her. This Gabby Guerra. Now, Gabby, you can see on the top right-hand shot there in Wisconsin. It's freezing in that room, but up and out of the saddle now, Elise Gallegos. She's in this three-rider shot in the bottom there, and boy, Nathan, this is going to be interesting. Gabby Guerra, I thought she had him on the ropes again, but Gallegos is fighting back. McRosty now at 3 seconds back. Roach going back to 6 seconds back. So we're starting to get some real separation a long way from the finish line.
Yeah, and it's now at this point, it looks like it's going to be Guerra trying to break the will of all the other riders here at this point, trying to attack over and over again. Now 5.4 watts per kilogram. This is just the beginning of the climb, Dave. 2% gradient, 3% gradient now, and she can see that starting to sense a little bit of blood in the water here, Dave, and going to try and go in for the kill a little bit more. But Gallegos is responding. She's up and out of the saddle now as well, and Gallegos looks to try and bring this back, it looks like.
Well, what I really like about the brave racing that we're seeing from Gabby Guerra right now is it comes with an extra incentive. There is no peloton to chase you back, so that gives you a little more range to attack like this. Gabby's always been an aggressive rider. She likes to take her chances, not one to sit back and wait, and I love the fact that she now is putting it to him. So, but Nathan, we're going to start watching that time now too. Jackie Godby, who's been out there alone in the wind the entire time, gap at 1:17. That's mind-blowing, to tell you the truth, that it's still over a minute. It's over a minute 15, but we'll watch what happens now over the next K. I'm expecting that Jackie comes back to Gabby here, or Elise, or Mallory. Sarah Roach now at 23 seconds. She might start working with Julia Lehman in a moment, as it would not hurt for those two to start connect and see what they can do to start riding back up into the fourth spot together. Sometimes it's better to accept the fact that working with the rider is going to be better than trying to hold them off. That's just tactics. Well, that's actually strategy.
Yeah, and a big move here that has now, it looks like Gallegos here backing off the 3.6 watts per kilogram as Guerra continues on. And the fact that there's nobody together behind at this point, that puts a little more wind in the sails,
helps.
doesn't it, Dave? Right? You start thinking, okay,
Sure
at
does.
this point, it's me versus them. It's 1v1, v1, v1, rather than me versus 5 that are all working together. So at this point now, Dave, there's the gloves come off. You can start putting them on the ropes, so you can start really going for it.
Well, and also, Nathan, you make great points there. If you're Gabby here, well, you know exactly what you're dealing with. You can see the split to Elise, and if Elise is coming up to you, it's not like you're going to get counterattacked. Like if you get caught by a breakaway or a group and then another rider attacks, and then you're really in trouble. Well, here, this is, I always have understood mano a mano to mean hand-to-hand combat, and that's what we have here. It's really down to these two riders, not counting out Mallory McRosty at all. But at this point now, you really look at these two. These are your danger women, two of the best in the sport, on top of their game in a unique ISO situation. It's not like you want to say, what do they call that in your world there? Players who that are figures that you see in the game that aren't players. Well, there are other racers here that could have an impact. So not calling them that. But what you do have now is Elise Gallegos knows exactly what she's chasing, and that's going to be Gabby Guerra. Gap is holding there. What's insane to me is that Jackie Godby is actually increasing her advantage at this point. It's gone out to 120 for Jackie, Nathan. So it's always fascinating to watch that. But really, I think the focus now, because working with what we've got, it's going to be Gabby Guerra. This is Gabby right now, who's holding on to 10 seconds now. This is bananas. So not only is Gabby adding to her advantage, it's gone into double digits. So this is a command performance from Gabby Guerra right now.
Yeah, very, very much so. And now she's looking to get to the top of this climb here, Dave. And as she comes up over the top, it's going to be all about carrying that speed over. And that's the gap probably going out there, Dave. You can see that the power was not higher. It's that Godby is on a downhill at this point. And so because of that downhill, Godby is gaining distance, which means time as well. But as Gabby hits the downhill section at a higher power, perhaps, she'll probably start bringing back some of that time. It's just the landscape had a differentiation because that's a real time difference that's literal out there between them that it would take to cover that distance. And being on that downhill, that changes things up a little bit on that distance.
Well, the gap has come down, and it's going to go under a minute here. Well, it goes up and down, but 107. Last time we checked in, it was 116. But Jackie Godby continues to put pressure on the pedals. This is going to be Gabby Guerra that we're in with now as we go over the Mayan Bridge. What's interesting is the gap between Gallegos and Guerra here, as Gabby pouring more coal onto the fire right now. It's still, though, it's not enough now that you can say, well, Gabby's now on her victory lap, as she will have to monitor what's going on behind her. McRosty, then Roach, then Lehman, in that order out here now as we move our way into, I think it's fair to say this is the women's finale at this point. The big moves have been made out here on this wattage chessboard, and now this is the chase. Elise Gallegos here. I would imagine. So, interesting now, I'm realizing that gap to Jackie Godby, I was misreading that number. It's still at 121.
Yeah, it's up.
Here.
It's up, actually.
And
it's actually going up. Interesting enough, as it gets into the downhill section, I was incorrect. Godby's actually holding a really good downhill pace here. And, they've got their work cut out for them, that's for sure. They got about 15K here, Dave. I mean, they're going to have to put out a much higher power than Godby to bring this back.
It's not like the women were waiting around to the first half of this race either. Jackie must be very, very motivated to throw down an epic performance out here. I mean, so she's been racing blind, more or less. To recap the story, if you're just joining us, it's an interesting one. It speaks to, what we deal with in the world of esports racing is apparently there's a bit of an issue, and I'm not surprised. It's been really rough with the weather around the United States and the Midwest getting hit. She's in St. Louis, so some internet problems had her bouncing in and out, but we're kind of more or less using a thumbnail sketch to say that she's still racing, and her gap is 1 minute and 22 seconds to what was a small peloton, but that peloton shattered a few kilometers ago. It was really never more than 5 riders, and at this point now it's every woman for herself out here. We're watching Elise Gallegos. She is technically third on course. There may be some conversations. There might not be. These women are competitors, but they seem to have some of the best esprit de corps amongst competitors I've ever seen in sport. And I don't know that they're going. I'll let them decide that. But what I do know is Jackie Godby now is watching that advantage come down to 109. So Gabby Guerra pushing. I'm still anticipating that catch is made just based on the huge price that Godby will have to pay for the effort she made in the first half of this race, but I'm certainly not going to guarantee that. Jackie Godby is exceptional. So Elise Gallegos, though, 14 seconds behind Gabby Guerra. Nathan, this is really interesting.
Yeah, it is. It is. Now, I do want to highlight here quickly, the men have gotten out on course. There was a breakaway initially right from the get-go here from Leclerc, and this is the elite men's race, just jumping in to give updates as they start. Gumbel here now as they get into one of their first climbs. This is actually still in the lead-in. They haven't started their official first lap, and already the attacks are starting fast and furious here. 31 starters out here today for the elite men. As they get stuck into it. 5.5K in. We'll jump back in with them as they get into their first lap here, but the attacks still happen here with the women's race here. So I just wanted to highlight, we are in with the men in just a moment here, but this, as we get into the back end of the race, want to keep an eye on this gap with the ladies as well and not let that get away from us.
Great. Thanks, Nathan. Remembering bikes are neutralized if you're just joining us for the men's race here. So even though you'll see a bunch of different bikes, everybody's up against the same thing. Gabby Guerra at 17 seconds now. That gap hasn't changed to Jackie Godby. I'm really going to focus on really Guerra to Gallegos right now. And Gabby Guerra is starting to ride away with this one. It's gone out to 18 seconds. Pretty similar gap from Gallegos back to McRosty right now. But Gabby Guerra on a roll here. A little over 10K to go.
10K or so to go. Now onto this climbing section. Going to come over and over the top and most likely try and carry as much speed as she possibly can. It's gone out to 20 seconds. So that's the situation for the ladies. Let's jump back across to the men. This is starting to establish itself as a TT between these ladies. We'll keep eyes on those time gaps. But FarmWatts doing what FarmWatts does. Pucker now making the moves, and we're not even into the first lap here, Dave, and already he is trying to make this a difficult day for everybody. But Alex Tenselhoff now, he's also here making some moves, and watch out for this guy. He hasn't been able to take a win as of yet, but he is hungry for one, I know.
Well, Tenselhoff, the coach of FarmWatts, Hayden Pucker, also seeing our freshly minted national champion, Brian Duffy Jr. in this race. Thomas Thrall is here as well. Jay Brune. Oh, wow. Well, this is the Murderer's Row coming from the next presented by Insured team that we've got. So, to be honest, I haven't really completely delved into this start list, Nathan. With all of the racing that we've got going on, there's going to be an incredible battle royale going on out here. So, as they spawn, as Nathan said, it's a long run in. That's 2 on the counter. 2 to go. 2 big laps out here. So we're into the laps proper right now. There he is, Olympic gold medalist Jay Barnes here, racing out of South Africa. Nathan, I feel like we're in the Zwift Grand Prix when you look at these names.
Yeah,
Jaeger, Leclerc, Corrigan.
Huge day.
Camo
Huge day. Seriously.
What? Holden Camo.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Can Holden hold on is the big question here. Because if he does, who's taking him out in a sprint? That they're going to do everything they can to get rid of Holden Camo here. And this is one of the races, that really, I think if he's been putting the work in, he can hold on up over the top of these climbs. But the attacks are going to be absolutely insane. They're going to do everything they can. Matt Kubro is here as well. I mean, there is some big names here also from Saris. Dave, a lot going on here in front of us right now.
This might as well be Brian Callison. This might as well be the Sprinters World Championships that we're looking at. You know what this reminds me of is Tour Down Under, Nathan, with Sam Welsford, the New Zealander, on Bora Hansgrohe, where he's won 3 stages, but the whole thing is you got to drop him on the climbs, right? And that's the same thing here we were talking about with Holden. If you don't drop him, God be with you. I mean, he's one of the best sprinters on the planet. This is going to be our man Niall, racing out of the United Kingdom. A lot of spirit in this young Jedi as we take a look. A guy who could do some good damage out on the course out here today. Fantastic climber. So up to the front. Talk about sprinters. This is the king of the jungle, and we're in the jungle. So this ought to be really a good day for Brian Duffy Jr. Nathan, that was an awesome national championships. We are so proud to host that on Swiss Community Live with our partners there at Echelon Racing League. And Brian Duffy Jr., there's the jersey. How cool is it that we got to watch that whole process unfold? That was a really great win for him and his next Insured team. And to be honest, I think it was a win for eSports.
100%. It's great to see him jumping in with us out here today as Duffy Jr. makes a move to try and hold on to the attack here from Pucker. You know what he's going to do today? He is just going to demolish every single climb he possibly can. Any daylight that he can get, that FarmWatts is going to be making sure that the watts are coming because, Dave, he does not want to sprint. That is the last thing in the world that Hayden Pucker wants.
But he wants an incredibly hard race. Nathan, do you know, is he technically on a farm? Like, is this a farmhouse?
I actually don't know. Okay. But I would not be surprised at all. I would not be surprised at all. There's more farms up there than there are roads almost like in that area.
And to be fair, that looks like the inside of an old school farmhouse. The way that the structure is built there, I wouldn't be too surprised if he lives on a dairy farm.
Where's his screen? Is he on a phone? Like, where's the? Oh, I see it. The laptop. There. The laptop is there. I think I see it. I think I kind of see it off on the left there. But love it.
In a world of things that are both old and new, a tablet would certainly fit that.
Well, his teammate here, Reidenbach, just barely getting back on terms. They've already dropped Like, what? There's 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 riders now, Dave. Like, already.
It's insane. Where's the rest? There's the peloton. You can see this is bananas. I know we've got a women's race to focus on. This is really the first 10K out here in the Mayan jungle. Wow. I don't really remember, Nathan, Serpentine 8 having a ton of racing out here. One, I'm definitely nominating this course for the U.S. National Gravel Zwift Championships. That's for sure. Brian Duffy Jr., who already has a national championship jersey on here, getting up onto Hayden Pucker's wheel. We've talked about Farm Watts. We've talked about Duffy Jr. Look who's sitting third wheel, Jay Brune, and he's throwing some watts at it now. One of the most popular Zwifters of all time, Jay Brune, trying to come up. This is absolute pandemonium out here today, Nathan. I'm blown away. These guys really, really came to race. 46K of racing. I feel like we're in the last 2K here. This is just getting going. That's Jay Brune that we're going in cam with now. Chemical engineer, Jay Brune.
Look at the
Making
suffering
some
on the
lactic
face
acid.
there. Yeah, look at him, Dave. He is really trying to get across here, as you can see here. Corrigan and Matt Cabral, they just cover it, but they don't go over the top. Interesting enough. And now he backs off because otherwise he's dragging Cyrus No Pins across with him. They just back right on off. Now here goes. Is Thrall going to go across? Is this going to be a setup here for Thomas Thrall as well as Duval here at this point? The response here now coming in from Corrigan.
Do you hear your voice? I feel like, Nathan, we're into the World Championships last few K. This is just the first quarter of the race. Racers make the race. We've said that a million times. This is the perfect example of that. And rather than sitting back and waiting till the second lap, these guys are going to turn this into an absolute Donnybrook out here today. So, I mean, these are the biggest names that we've got in the sports. And how about Niall, Nathan, the ride that he's having out here today? That's really, really impressive as we take a look at Corrigan. Well, I love seeing Cyrus No Pins being able to throw down with the restarts and the next. I mean, these teams now, the parity that we're seeing, next is a monster squad, and yet they can't walk away with these things.
Duval now making a move to try and go across. It looks like Duffy Jr., his teammate up the road. That was Thomas Duval there in the lower left-hand corner. Hopefully his internet stays on board. I think it's going to. Now Corrigan looks to be getting across. It looks like that's going to be 4 up at this moment if they can get across to Duffy and Pucker. I think Duffy wants his teammate to get across and is actually backing off, but he did not want to let Hayden Pucker get away. You let Hayden Pucker get away, that guy can just throw down monster watts all day long, and it will be lights out bedtime for everybody else if they did let him have what he's looking for, which is any kind of daylight as Pucker goes again.
Well, you know, I don't know if they're telling these guys that help is on the way, but it's not. This is going to be absolutely crazy, Nathan. Hayden Pucker doesn't look like he's planning on backing off at all. I'm not expecting to see, keep those ride-ons coming for Hayden here. There's no way I'm expecting him to back off. This is a game plan. His teammates will benefit by knowing what he's doing here because they're going to be able to sit on the chases. That's Hayden that you're looking at now. This is his MO. Up and out of the saddle, flogging himself like a rented mule that's due back at noon. Right? He's going to use up every last watt that he's got in this body. Only one man can respond at this point. It's been Brian Duffy Jr. You're going to see Tom Corrigan now, Duval, Thrall, Tenselhoff. These are some of the biggest names that we've got in the sport now leading up chase number 1. We might not have a peloton again, Nathan.
No, and I think here's the reality is now Saris are going to be satisfied that Corrigan has gotten into this break. Now, it's 2v1v1 now. That's all together. Do they sit up is the question. Does Duffy Jr. and Duval start sitting on to let Thrall perhaps, or I'm not sure, the weird thing is that Thomas Thrall's back here doing some work actually. Do they want to bring this back together, Dave? Is that what's going on? Does Next actually want their riders to bring this back together?
I don't think they want to bring it back together. I think that they'd like to move Thrall across and go from station to station like an astronaut. But behind him, Nathan, they can't bring Holden Camo up or they're being counterproductive. They know that.
And he's here. And he is here still.
Right.
That's the thing.
So So Thrall's trying to get the. It's kind of brute force. If he's going to go across, he can't bring. He needs to do it alone. I mean, you don't want to bring Leclerc across with you either.
He's texting. Holden's texting.
That's Holden, right? So this is a guy who's been national champion. Wouldn't you call him, Nathan, one of the OGs that has been one of the very few riders who was able to be there at the start, make it through the COVID transition, and still be relevant at the high end now? Not too many guys have that career timeline that Holden Camo has.
Yeah, 100%. And I think Holden is a danger man anytime he shows up for a race, unless it goes uphill
Matt Kerbo.
For too long. Now, Matt is a good one to talk about as well.
That's another good example of that. A guy who's been here a long time and who's still really, really good.
Now, Dave, have you seen Freyette? I don't think he's here.
Not today.
He's not here. And here, Dave, I just want to highlight, as we start this climb, take a look at this point structure. He's at the top, but no show today. That opens up the door a little bit.
Well, no Thomas Perrin either today.
So Brune, and no Near as well. Zach is actually on a plane heading to go talk to some people in Abu Dhabi about World Championship stuff, I hear. So, no Near. And so Brune is Brune, Pucker, Duffy. That's the situation here for big point gains.
Interesting. We can look at this two ways. We can talk about it as far as being part of the series, or we can talk about it as an individual race here today. And I'm more apt to talk about the second column more, just the race itself, race proper today, Nathan, rather than the series, especially with Neil not here. Neil's in Seattle, over in Ballard, Washington, anticipating seeing him at Metier in Seattle next week, but not able to race today. So, yeah, we'll obviously monitor both things right now. This is the chase that we're looking at. Jay Brune here racing out of Georgia. I want to say Georgia. That's a Christopher Schwenker question at Zamuna K, as he would always know all the data on this stuff, and always great to see Christopher enjoying more racing. As this has become one of the riders that has been featured, and also a great story in this sport. He's been on the U.S. national team competing in the World Championships. He was one of the winners of a Continental Qualifier a couple of years ago, or I guess just really a little over a year ago. But this is the chase that we're looking at right now.
Yeah, Brune,
Mike's neutralized.
Thrall and Brune here working together really well, actually chasing this back as Hidden Pucker's just doing work at the front, and I think that's what's happening here is that Next are fine with bringing this all back together with the numbers that they have, and Pucker is saying no, you're gonna have to really work for it, and he's willing to just take everybody on now at this point. Duffy Jr.'s going back.
Yeah, wow. Okay, this is going to be a lot to take in here. This is just absolutely crazy racing. I guess really put an emphasis on Hayden Pucker, man who has taken the bull by the horns out here today. Nathan, I'm just seeing folks saying that Tom Corrigan, let me make sure I have that right. Yeah, 103-degree fever yesterday.
No.
Mike Egan telling us that in chat. Yeah, I'm not a doctor, so I wasn't there to confirm it, but that is really high. I saw someone on the news complaining about 102.5 the other day, so 103. It's crazy to see him out here racing. Tom Corrigan gets a gold star as a hero of the day.
Well, it does look like this is going to be coming back together here.
I hear
Duffy
you sniffling.
Jr. goes to the back. No, I'm good to go. Duffy Jr.
It's like 10 degrees
went to
with
the
Nathan,
front.
isn't it?
He went to the front of the chase group. So he backed off, got to the front, and then pulled everybody up, actually. So next, definitely want numbers here.
Well, so Duffy Jr. covers the move from Hayden Pucker to make sure that they're represented. This is some great bike racing, folks, because then you can see how all of a sudden it wasn't really in anyone's interest anymore, knowing the peloton behind them was still rough and ready. They're absolutely rocking up. So race scenario now, as we work our way through lap number 1 proper, is a selection made. We started with 31. Well, it's not that much less than 31. You don't sign up and script for a race like this unless you're at this level. And How many are in that group? 25, probably?
Yeah, probably around there, about 20, 25, yeah, or so. They did drop about maybe 8 riders or so around that. But Dave, let's jump across to the ladies. They are finishing up here. Gallegos has kept it within 35 seconds and matching Gabriela Guerra here still at this point. But Gabriela Guerra here now off the front of the main group. Jackie Godby, she is going to cross the line first place here in just a moment, in about a K or so. Now, the only thing is for the organizers, I have a feeling there will most likely be complaints, launched, and rightfully so, I have to say. No offense great job to Jackie. She put
I'm
the work
still
in.
giving her a ride on.
Giving her a ride on, giving her, but there was there was internet issues and she disappeared, and so they weren't able to respond. But at the same time, Dave, she held on to the gap and increased it. So amazing job for her there still.
Well, at the end of the day, done and dusted there for Jackie is clearly Jackie's fitness is coming around. Things seem to be going her way. We're
I've
both
never
big
seen
fans.
Dave. I've never seen the network issue be an advantage ever. That was the first time I've ever seen that happen, honestly.
Yeah,
and so because
it
hasn't come up before, where like someone just was willing to just go hard while they disappeared and just like hammer that like.
And
go ahead,
any
Dave.
other athlete? Oh, I'm sorry, Nathan. Any other athlete, I'd say a big raising of the eyebrow. But with Jackie, she's so strong and it's proved it time and time again. It has a much greater possibility for me. But as you said, it'll all work out with these women. That's the. But yeah, really, really wild because you're right. The thousands and thousands of hours that you've broadcast, you've never seen that before. And with an athlete like Jackie Godby, makes me think it's possible.
Yeah, well, nicely done to Godby across the line there. Now Guerra going to be coming across here in just a moment to finish up her race.
So,
and
can I say it this way? Sorry to interrupt, Nathan. This is win number 2 because this is an incredible ride from Gabby Guerra today. Really is, Gabby. Great job.
Guerra across the line. Gallegos going to be the next to be crossing the line. That'll be your top 3 in the race here. As you can see, fan across that fan, would that bug you a little bit, Dave? that would get that.
You know what's sad?
That would get me a little bit.
No,
it wouldn't.
That's exactly the setup I have. Is almost that same brand of fan. I think I got it at a Walmart. So that you know what though, here we go. Nathan, you've heard me say quality of victory judged on quality of competition, right? Which just makes it that much sweeter for Gabby as Elise finishes up strong. But when you look at the quality of women that we've had out here today, this is going to be Mallory McRosty coming in now, the Wahoo Cole rider. She must split her time because I know in real life I've seen her racing in the Project Echelon kit, which completely makes sense as she represents Project Echelon. But here it's the Wahoo Cole rider, Mallory McRosty, coming through. She's down there in Arizona. You'll see her out racing on the American Criterium circuit. Elise Gallegos, more of a triathlete. You're going to see riders like Gabby Guerra in Lifetime Series type events. Like she was the rider that had a huge impact in Shamaquan.
Chequamegon.
How do I say?
Chequamegon.
Never going to get that right. So good job, Mallory. Mallory McRosty coming across the line now.
Mallory McRosty, Sarah Roach about to finish up her race as well. Nice job to Sarah as she finishes up and gets a solid 5th place here out here today. And that's going to give her some solid points though as well. For Sarah, I believe that's actually a pretty big deal. These positions showing up on the day still, I think most likely for the series points is going to really matter actually. Because I think Roach here sitting in 2nd, so that's going to really, she's still trying to hold on to a 2nd place overall in this series, and she's going to do that with this placing right now.
Yeah, I'm going to give her tomorrow off as well. Between the 3-hour marathon, the insane amount of racing she's been doing, she's working as hard as anybody on the planet right now. Good job out there, Sarah Roach.
Yeah,
and of course she finishes strong.
Too. Yeah, good little kick here coming in from Sarah Roach. Loving to see it. 8 watts per kilogram as she kicks across the line, getting a solid workout in. I do want to also mention Lehman as she kicks the line as well behind her, about 37 seconds back, pushing a solid 6 watts per kilogram. She's currently sitting in 3rd place overall. So these ladies are showing up, Dave, and really, really competing for these top spots overall. This is the series standings as it stands going into the race, and that'll be updating here shortly. But Dave, big day for all these ladies, and solidifying themselves for those final race next week where they're going to be challenging for those top spots. Now back in with the men.
That's a great point, though, Nathan, when you say solidifying, because that's exactly what happened. The 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place riders then in the series finished in that order in the 5th of 6 races. So that would definitely be what solidifying is. Back to the men, as Nathan said. We've got a select group. Looks a little bit smaller than when we left. Or does it, actually? Maybe not. It looks like our front group has got Holden Commode tucked right into the middle. Some of the best sprinters in the sport are in this group. Thomas Thrall.
Yeah, it looks like
it's calmed
Brian
down
Duffy
Jr.
Pretty good here, actually. Really calmed down as they're about to head downhill.
That's on Farm Watts, isn't it? I mean, when he calmed down, it calmed down.
Yeah, I mean, he's really the instigator. It feels like here that everybody's going to be watching as he looks to try and gain as many points as he possibly can. And for the overall in the series, I think Hayden's definitely chasing that out here today, as he's shown up for, I believe, every single race. So he's got 3 races.
Yeah,
he missed one. I think he missed one. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. Yeah, Neil Frant was at the top here, Dave, but not here today, not as well as Perrin not here. So Bruin, as we said earlier, is going to be the one that's really trying to chase something. Pucker as well up against him.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of mentally eliminate the names because they're not here today. So 1st and 2nd not here. That means that sort of our de facto series leader would be next rider, Jay Bruin. And then Hayden Pucker into 2nd with Zach Nair, as you said, traveling today. So it looks like really Jay Bruin, Hayden Pucker, Brian Duffy Jr. I haven't seen Matt Zimmer's name yet today either. And I don't know that he has taken the start. Unless you correct me, I'm going to say he's not in this front group. So let's go ahead and move to Marcus Duval, who is here racing. So Marcus Duval with the Welsh flag there, another next rider. So Nathan just kind of running through it. Jay Bruin, Hayden Pucker, Brian Duffy Jr., Marcus Duval, Tom Corrigan, and Alex Tenselhoff. Those are our riders in the top 10 that are still here today.
Yeah. That's the current situation. We can maybe go out a little bit further here. There's a few other riders that have shown up on the day. JP Leclerc is here, as well as JC has shown up. Thomas Thrall, as you can see, also hanging out in and amongst it, and Holden Camus there. Both of them only with 2 races, but that's your top 20 and the notables that have shown up on the day. Now, one thing I do want to highlight is that Brian Duffy Jr. is currently in 6th place overall with 400 points, Dave, but that's only with 2 races. That's how dominant he's been. He's won the 2 that he's shown up for. And Dave, if he grabs a win here, that pushes him above the current leader. So this is a big day for him.
I mean, it just made sense he was in the top 10. I didn't realize that was with 2 races. Nice catch, Nathan.
As a rider, you don't want to let go, Dave.
Oh, Jaden Yeager here. Multi-time U.S. national time trial champion, eSports aficionado, criterium expert, pride of Wisconsin. This guy checks every box. You are 100% correct. The only rider here that really could challenge Hayden Pucker in that danger rating would be Jaden Yeager. So, all right, Nathan, Restart really comes with a great game plan today. Attack with Pucker, make it tough. Put everybody back on their heels. They make the catch. People regroup. There goes Jaden. It's on.
Yeah, and Dave, the way I would look at this is let the locomotive go, because that's what this guy is, and then try and hook the caboose up to it when you can. Here, Dave, they're gonna try and they're letting them go a little bit here, but now when they hit this climb, Jager's not going to climb at 6-7 watts per kilogram necessarily, where they're going to push into 8 here in just a moment, and a few are going to get across perhaps to a man who will just be cresting over the top when they catch him most likely, and that's when it's really going to go, I think. I think in just a moment when the speeds pick up over the top of this, you'll get the suffering and little splits and people trying to hang on, but it's the moment when they're suffering the most over the top and the speeds can really pick up, attack. The downhills are the new uphills, as you say, Dave, right?
So you know how, Nathan, some people live their lives 5 minutes at a time. Other folks are looking into their retirement in their 20s, right? So it's at this point now, if I'm next, I'm going to look at this and say we need to have a short-term plan for what's going on right now, and then recognize that if you do catch Jaden Yeager, that there will be a Farm Watts attack, and it will be nuclear when he goes the next time, right? So this is some really great racing from Restart. They're going to put some pressure on Next. Rather than letting Next take the race to them, they flipped the script. So Next is going to have to decide. Now, Next would love to get some help, but if I'm Holden, I'm going to just sit in and let them do their thing. You do you, I'd say, because this is the perfect scenario when you can fly a little under the radar, put the pressure on Next. They've got the numbers. They've got some very strong riders. Make them do some work here to chase back Jaden Yeager. So Jaden running for the Restart team. That means that Hayden Pucker gets a free ride at this point, Nathan. He can sit in this group. I mean, that's bike racing 101. Teammate up the road, the biggest team in the race forced to chase. You sit on that chase, and theoretically, you counterattack. So if you're next, I'm going to throw it back to you with this. If you're next, you better have a plan for what you're going to do after you catch Jaden Yeager, and that's if you catch Jaden Yeager.
Yeah, this is great actually here today, and what I really like is that Restart are kind of the new... They're the new challengers to Next. No, they're the new Next. Yeah. They really are the challengers out here today, because Leclerc is also here. So there's 3 riders that are really trying
depth.
to. They do, and well, they're also taking the race to them. I also wouldn't count out Turbo. I mean, Alan Lowe is still here as well.
Exactly.
You know, we also see Turbo here still with
Holden
numbers.
Camo. Right. I mean, they got the
Turbo. Saris is a different story. Turbo. I'm speaking to Turbo. Tenselhoff, Low. We've got numbers here with them. Chudik is here still as well. You know, so we've got these 2 teams, Restart and Turbo, are making a new name for themselves in and amongst the Saris No Pins, the Next eSports, which I really love to see. This new men's squads showing up and having numbers here against some of the best.
This is the first time that we've had this kind of parity at this level, with multiple teams that have depth and viable
in the last year and a half or so. I don't know. I mean, like, you go back a little ways, and we've had a lot of depth across.
Okay, in the modern era of racing is what I'm referring to. I guess is the point being that Next was dominating for the last couple of years. This is the first time we've seen them challenged by multiple teams, I think.
Yeah, I'd say on the American side of things, North America, for sure, I would give that. I think there may be some people watching Lionel Viasen and a few others I'm talking about the European
here.
Teams were just going.
I'm not talking about that at all. Gotcha. I'm talking about this racing, our American, this time zone. Those teams don't. Those European guys, the PO Autos, they don't do these races really.
So jumping in with Yeager at the front as they do start this climb here. Pucker now 7 seconds off Duffy here. Now I think this is the time here that they are going to shut this down. Brian Duffy Jr., 7 watts per kilogram, your current reigning national champion of the U.S. now, starting to, I think he's going to back off here at this point. I think
I'd let him stay out there, to tell you the truth. Just because, thought being, if we catch him now, the counterattack comes. The longer we can feather it and leave him out there, the longer we have to avoid that problem.
Yeah, and this isn't an attack, right? This is just a steady climb here at this point. Well, 7 watts per kilogram now. So I mean, Duffy's making it. He's making it tough on him. It's not easy. It's not full gas, but it's definitely not easy. Now here's 8. I mean, he seems to want to do something here, Dave.
Well, and Jaden is sitting up now.
Good point.
Watching his, yeah. So Jaden's gone down to under 4 watts per kilo. Now he's completely sat up. So Jaden is going to throw in the towel. Well, or is he? I thought he was on this move. Now he's starting to ramp it back up, but the gap's come down to just a couple of seconds. So that might be just sort of him Zwift crafting to make sure he doesn't go straight to the back of that group, as well as the catch being made. All right. Well, a lot of gamesmanship out here, Nathan.
Yeah, now what happens though, Dave? Is there going to be an immediate counter? Corrigan now are Cyrus going to start making some moves? No, Pucker, yeah, there it is. Immediately, Hayden Pucker right to the front, 9 watts per kilogram coming from Pucker. Bruin now responding, not wanting to let this go, and everyone just starts throwing orange, Dave. Pucker goes to the front, they know it's time to make hay.
This is why I was saying, do you sure you want to make that catch?
It's a good call. It's a good call. Duffy made the catch, and now Thrall looks to go across. Now, this is a rider, Dave. Been a little bit more quiet as of recently. We haven't seen many results from Thrall, but you let him go off the front, and he's like a Hayden Pucker, can just grind big watts, long periods of time here. This would be a great matchup here, but Duffy looks to respond.
Well, last time it was Duffy who went with Hayden Pucker. This time it's going to be Thomas Thrall, who's sort of the Canadian version in some ways of Brian Duffy Jr., a fantastic sprinter with amazing amount of talent. He has the responsibility of covering this move from Hayden Pucker because they realize how dangerous Pucker is. And, it was inevitable that attack was going to come. We're going to run out of real estate quickly here at the speed these guys are traveling at. 2 laps today on Serpentine 8. It has been bananas, fitting to racing in the jungle, but look what it's doing now to this peloton. So this is a whole different mode of racing, Nathan, that we've got now from what they were doing the last lap when they went through this sector.
Yeah, and now as you can see, it is going to be a catch here quickly. Pucker now, 5.1 watts per kilogram here, 4.9 watts per kilogram shooting now. Thrall, Duval, Leclerc, Rutenselhoff, Bruin now trying to hang on. Weinstein now almost off the back. And look at what Cyrus is doing. Every time Holden's off the back, one of his teammates puts the work in for him and brings him back up here. Oh, Niles here now, toast off the back. Riding for restart, though, a recent pickup for them. Great to see. I am here and also being coached by no other than Ed Laverick, actually, as Niall here now off the back says, sorry, dudes, but he made it really far. One of our junior racers here. Great to see him making it into this league group for as long as he did.
Really popular young rider who's got a bright future. I know the community really supports him now, so keep it going out there. That's what you call punching above your weight. Nice job. Who, of course, throws some supportive love at him. It's James Barnes. So, all right, Nathan, back to the front of this group. Again, as far as the racing that we get treated to here in North America, this series, 6 different races, kind of wedged into the middle of that was our U.S. National Championships. This level has been insane, just like we saw with the women. And Nathan, here we go again.
Yeah, Pucker on the move again. Just will not stop, will not relent. It's what he needs to do because if it comes down to a sprint, it's going to be the same old story over and over again. Brian Duffy Jr. for the win. But Dave, Duffy and Holden next have made it hard enough over and over again that we haven't been able to see that situation in the ERL. Over and over again, Holden has been not involved in the sprints outright. And if we can see that today, it will be a whole new ball game, a whole new story, and big question marks are going to be in that last kilometer. So next, do not want to bring the best sprinter in the world with them. That is Holden Camus. When it comes to this, if you're in just a flat course, I don't know a rider who can do the kind of watts per kilogram or raw wattage that Holden can do.
Holden Camus is the Mark Cavendish of eSports sprinting. Actually, you know what's funny? That's not even true because Cavendish isn't known as a guy who makes huge watts. He's more known as savvy in the right place at the right time with a pop. Holden Camus, you're right, Nathan. I guess he's Mark Cavendish in quantity of wins and ability, but he does it with power. That's for sure. The man is a wattage cottage, no question. As we take a look at our front group here, down to 14K of racing.
The big question mark here is how comfortable is he at this point? How much energy does Holden have left? What does he have to work with here still? 14K of racing, as you said here, Dave, there's about 2 more climbs, really serious climbs that they're going to have to take on. And they have not gotten rid of the most dangerous man in this field at this point as it comes down to it. He does look like he's put in some pretty good work, though, at this point, Dave. It's still going to be a tough day for him.
He doesn't look like he's any trouble to me. That's Holden on screen there, texting, cruising along comfortably. That's going to be a tough man to beat today. We got a real battle. If this goes to the line with the names that we're talking about, Nathan, first off, imagine what the 2K in would be like with the attacks coming left, right, and center. If these guys get a sprint, an opportunity to sprint, it's like watching Godzilla and King Kong.
100%. Well, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Let's get a quick little comparison when it does come to the sprinters here that we do have to the line, Dave. 16.5, Dave. 16.5 is what we're talking about here from Holden. Duffy Jr., a full 2 watts per kilogram less on the day.
Look at the 1 minute, though, right? So if next sets
total
it up,
difference. Total difference, Dave. Like the 20 minute and this 5 minute. I mean, if they can make the break happen, he's just not there. But they have to take advantage of that, don't they?
Well, and that's going to be up to the teams, and that's where this is not an exercise contest. This is bike racing in this amazing virtual format that we've got. And I mean, and Hayden Pucker, Nathan, this is your wild card. Definitely not a sprinter per se, but boy, is he an animator.
100%, and we'll see what he can make happen here. I mean, it really comes down here, but I mean, 5 watts per kilogram, 6 watts per kilogram, again, those 20 minutes. Now, Jay Brune is a whole nother question mark, though, Dave. Again, another one who's got a really good pop, and I'd be watching out for him perhaps to make this as well. If it comes down to it, you may see a couple of kicks from 2 separate riders in that next team when it comes to the last 500 meters.
Isn't it amazing how Jay Brune is like a hybrid of both of those guys, to be honest? I mean, his 20-minute power is pretty close to Hayden's, and his 15-second power is as close as just about anybody to what we're seeing there. There's a bunch of guys on next that can sprint, though. No question. Back in now with Matt Curveau here as we take a look at the cream of the crop in North American racing without any doubt. We've got ourselves a Donnybrook coming our way down to 12. Make it less than 12K. Make it more like 10K and a little change until this one is sorted out.
And here we go.
Right,
Matt Cubro went to the front, interesting enough here now, but now it looks like, was he just trying to make it difficult enough that nobody really attacks? Because now he just rolls right to the back. I've got to think there's some sort of interesting, chess going on here, 200 IQ from SARS to try and keep things together.
Duffy Jr.
Oh, is that an attack from Duffy? Is that Duffy or is that going to be Tenselhoff? No, it's Tenselhoff. Tenselhoff actually is making the move here, and Duffy's responding. He was just a little bit out of camera there for a moment. Dave, now this is the first move we've seen from A10.
And who's coming over the top? Oh, boy, Hayden Pucker now. So this is the third time that Brian Duffy Jr. looks like he's trying to mark him now, talking about Hayden Pucker here. So Cream rising to the top. We might see this group get a little bit smaller here if they're going to continue to just wail away with that 20-pound sledgehammer. But no, really things basically regrouping now. This is some great racing going on. Yeah, they're just moving around the chess pieces on the board out here.
Now, is there anybody in here, Dave? We haven't really like dark horses that are amongst us. I think Corrigan is one. Now, he was sick yesterday, we were hearing, so he might be having a rough day to make any kind of serious moves.
Joseph Choidak?
Yeah, Chodik, this is a rider that I think if they're going to do something with Chodik, I do think that Chodik is just hating on a little bit. I did see him dropped in that group a little bit earlier, and then they came back. But Chodik maybe later in a race might be able to make something happen here. He is a rider that can maybe sneak off the front. He's one of those that could sneak off the front and stay there if they allow it, kind of a thing. But they really would have to allow that because they don't see him as much of a danger, perhaps in a sprint or a big punch. Or we'll bring him back. That can be a danger man in another kind of way.
Agreed. I think you're going to hear more from him, though, Nathan, in the next few years. Let's take a look at the front. Again, Hayden Pucker here. I feel like a broken record at this point, but I think you're going to hear Joseph getting some big results over the rest of this indoor season. That's going to be Thomas Thrall, the Canadian, Canucking up here late in the race. That's another rider I'd be interested to see the comprehensive look at his numbers, as I've always remembered Thrall as being a fantastic finisher.
Matthew Bro, just a little bit off the front here. I really think they're guarding Holden. I really think that they are
leaving guys back to help pace him if he gets dropped.
I really think that's what's going on here, is that they are protecting him at this point.
Nathan, I'm going to sign off on that 100%. Going back to my Sam Wellsford comment, right? Keeping some riders around him so you can fill in gaps if needed. And I mean, that's how a team rides. This is really cool to see what Sarah Snowpins is doing. They come in with a strategy. At this point now, they've more than kept their head above water. They've ridden nearly a perfect race, bringing it down to about 8K to go or so. Everybody backing off just a little bit here. So you sense that now after 4-5 Hayden Pucker attacks, Jaden Yeager has gone up the road, putting some pressure on.
We saw 10th off for a moment too. I mean, Turbo has been making moves, but Next they're not really. Next aren't really making any moves anymore. It looks like they're just covering these situations from everybody else. And now, Dave, this is the first time in a while that we've seen. It's been about a lap and a half, almost like 20K or so since we've seen this total calm.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this, Nathan. If you're going, with your knowledge of this course, again, out here racing the second lap on Serpentine 8, where's your best opportunity to drop a sprinter like Holden? I might as well not bury the lead. I mean, if you're going to try to drop Holden and you're next, where would you do that?
You have two more opportunities. You really just have two more opportunities. Mm-hmm. This climb right here and the final climb. That's actually just a little. It's a much smaller one. Before you hit the finish line, and the finish line is the opposite direction right here. It's right here, the opposite direction, downhill actually into a about 800 meter flat. And so this is really one of your final chances right here, Dave, is about to be right in front of them actually. Okay, and Pucker takes it on.
Yeah, well, and so here's my thought. If I'm next, Nathan, I'm going to get a little crazy. I'm going to attack with Jay Brune at 5K to go and put pressure on everybody and hope that if the catch is made that I will have my man Brian Duffy Jr. there to finish out the sprint. I think that might be next best way to win this because they're not going to drop Holden Camo out of this group at this point. I just don't think that it's going to happen. Holden's got two teammates with him. He's riding incredibly well. I think that they need to go to a plan B. If plan A was to drop Holden out of the front group, it's not working.
Well, here's the thing, Dave. I mean, okay, they have relied on a sprint so often next. They have relied on coming to the line. Duffy Jr.'s won a sprint. Duffy Jr.'s won a sprint. Right? That's kind of been the thing at this point. And now that option is taken from the table. I'm wondering if we are going to see what we saw when it came down to a hill climb situation in Bologna at national championships. That's also in the playing field here. That's also an ace up the sleeve for a couple of riders in the field here still. And there's some riders who have not laid their cards on the table when it comes to those attacks. We've seen Restart go. We've seen them go. We haven't seen Duffy Jr. go. We have not.
He won that hill climb. I mean, that's the thing. The only race that Duffy Jr. didn't win was the Neil Freyette beat him in the sprint in the Criterium, right?
So I'm wondering if we're waiting for that. So, if there's going to be one decisive move later in the race that nobody can respond to, or if he's going to roll his dice against Holden in a sprint. I mean, that could be the situation here.
You'd have to be him to know, to be honest, at this point, because he has to trust in his sprint. He's well aware of who Holden Camo is, but he also knows what his ability. I'm going to go with that he doesn't wait for the sprint, Nathan. That would be my guess.
I wouldn't. I would not. I would not.
Wouldn't either.
I would not. Oh, here we go. What's going on here?
The numbers. What that's Matt Kerbo coming over the top. Now, what's your better chance to win? Waiting for the sprint or attacking on the climb? I think it's attacking on the climb.
I think you're right. I think you're 100% right here. Now, Matt Kerbo now ramping it up, interesting enough. That's going to make things a little bit more difficult for their sprinter. Now, is this a controlled ramp up, though? It's not a full
100%. 100%. This is just a teammate setting a pace, controlling the race for you. This is how a teammate helps a teammate win. So put a star in this moment, or pin in this moment, remembering that Matt Kerbo here, bringing him down to 6K to go.
This is up to the top here now. Yeah, now this is a little bit more serious. 7.5 watts per kilogram as he rolls over the top of that. Duffy Jr. now 6.4, holding to the wheel now. They're about to hit the downhill section into the little bridge and then a little pop over the top here, Dave. Now, this may, okay, can calm down downhill. Dave, they're about to hit a very steep out of this bridge section that rolls immediately into a flat, immediately into a bump into a downhill. That is a long downhill. You can get a gap. It's a dangerous section. I've seen people roll away many times on it before. Pucker's backed off here. Watch for some sort of massive attack right here, perhaps.
Well, I agree with you, Nathan. If it's going to happen, it should be in the next few seconds, and it doesn't look like anybody's going to roll those dice.
No.
So these moments, these windows come and go really, really quickly out here, and it doesn't look like anybody's going to take it. Well, yeah, so all right, it looks like Tenselhoff, now Turbo.
You know, he's just saying, I just was focusing on him because he said, holding his back and I'm here for it. So Tenselhoff is actually saying out in chat here that excited to see that Camo's been able to make the front group. And it's been a while, Dave, since we've seen him able to make it, actually. So everybody's
this is really crazy. Look at that. Talk about respect in your community. That's got to feel even better than the win, is seeing all of these guys that came here just giving him the business, right? But they're cheering him on at the same time. That's the people's champion. Good job today, Holden Camo.
Says a lot to the community as well. I mean, these are some pretty competitive dudes.
Good dudes.
You ever been... even in the locker room on a team, that's all on the same team, it can get pretty, okay, yeah, who are you? You think you're the alpha around here? But even amongst them, they're it's pretty cool to see. Great respect here. Well, now a little bit of a punch. Now, Dave, okay, this is what's happening. I think that they're trying to soften the legs or get Matt away. I think that's what's going on.
Well, and how many times when you focus on one thing, something else happens, and Matt Kerbo taking advantage of a very interesting situation here late in the race. This is going to be Jean-Paul Leclerc out of Montreal, Quebec, Canada, racing up to the front now as we take a look here at a big moment happening. So got to love this Kerbo attack. It's gone out to 3 seconds. That's going to get their attention.
Yeah, and 3 seconds now at this point. This could survive, actually. This is a dangerous move. This guy knows how to suffer. He really, really knows, and he's got the right profile as well as far as a rider goes to be able to hold on to this gap. He's got big watts. He's got the right weight profile. I mean, this guy can stick it and stay away all the way to the finish line. The only thing here at this point, Dave, if they keep it at this pace, the only thing I could see perhaps happening is a monster bridge on the next climb, the final climb on the day.
All Matt Kerbo needs, he's done the work, he's got the numbers, just a little bit of a karma rebate. This guy's got a huge win here today.
Well, can they do it? Can they do it here now at this point? Matt here off the front. Let's make a quick little look here at the comparisons at 4.8 watts per kilogram, 5.8 for 5 minutes. So a little bit lower on the watts per kilogram. But it's like we said, it's one of those riders who can sneak away and just hold. That they don't see as the absolute danger man, and the reality is that his teammate is the danger man. So this is perfect for them because if they chase him, they set up Holden. Perfect move by Sars, and I actually can't believe they let this get away.
Right, and you're absolutely spot on, Nathan, because what you're hoping back in that peloton is they're saying, this is a decoy, don't take the bait, but the problem is, this isn't a decoy. This is a really, really talented rider. When you talk about Matt Kerbeau, he is going to add a massive victory here in race number 5 of the Echelon Racing Series if he can hold on. Nathan, I feel like it's a 50-50. Right now, Matt Kerbeau taking advantage of a perfect race situation. As you said, right now, even better than 50-50 is Saris Nopin's chance of winning this race. I realize Restart is there, and Next brings their A team.
He's out of sight.
I'm not saying David beats Goliath, Nathan, but this might be pretty similar to that in this world. How about Saris Nopins? And you're right, he is out of sight. Certainly not out of mind, though.
13 seconds. How quickly can that come back? And is there going to be a ramp up from Next? I mean, they've got their man here, but they've got to do something here at this point. 13 seconds, Dave. What is going on?
So you ramp it up, and guess what you're doing? You're going to bring Holden Camo at speed like a runaway freight train into the final 200 meters. So Saris Nopins has set up all of the pieces perfectly. Still doesn't guarantee a win. This is the true hour of power on Zwift.
Here they come. Jaden Yager now starting to set up Restart. It looks like Thrall here now hanging on to the wheel. 13 seconds. Matt Kerbeau is holding on to 13 seconds. The big question is, can Holden hold on to the bridge that tries to go across at this moment? But Dave, they're not even bridging. What is going on?
No, so again, up the road, 13 seconds. It's down to 11 now from Matt Kerbeau back to this chase, but the chase is not full bore. He's calibrated this very, very well, looking at Kerbeau again. This is the Tête de la Course, and at this point now, he's going to have to turn himself completely and utterly inside out, but he's got a realistic shot. That is an amazing angle right there. As you remember on that grade, this is going to be, where's that, 10 seconds, Nathan. Here we go, the run for the roses.
Matt Kerbeau here off the front, now almost out of sight around the corner. 10 seconds. Thrall now to the front. Where's the lead in for the man Brian Duffy Jr.? Where's the lead in for Restart? It's not here any longer, Dave. This is now a man off the front for Saris Nopins. They've played it perfectly, and I think this is their race to lose at this point, Dave, because it's been over and over again the next story, but today it's the man in white and pink.
They could go 1-2 the way things are playing out right now, as if they don't make this catch, it's going to be a field sprint for the silver. And now here we go. They've activated. It's going to be Hayden Farmwatts attacking out of the group. That's though not enough of an attack. It strung things out here. They're going to run out of real estate before they make the catch.
Yeah, 12 seconds here now at this point. It's going to have to absolutely go bonkers here at the front. The look on the face there, the pain on the face, the frustration a little bit there, I think, from Pucker, as he knows he's got to do something, but there's just nothing left for him here. But Dave, it's a setup for Tenselhoff when it comes to the Restart situation, but now Thomas Thrall goes over the top. This is the lead off for Brian Duffy Jr. He's right on that wheel there, 45 kilometers total at this point, and it's only going to be it's going to come right to the line as they ramp it up here, Dave.
Next that good? Is it going to be a surgical finish from Next, or will this hero hold on? I'm pulling for the hero, and this one is Matt Kerbeau has completely committed. He's going to be scraping the bottom of the barrel, but Next is now ignited. The rocket is coming. Brian Duffy Jr. in full-on kill mode now. Nathan, this is what it's all about on Zwift Community Live. Our finale is coming at you fast and furious.
They're going to do it, Dave. They're going to do it, and here comes Holden. Holden's kicking. He's kicking like a madman. He's going to be able to make it to the line. Holden makes it happen. I think he did it 1-2. I think they did it 1-2. I can't believe it.
Oh my
they didn't even catch him either. Not both of them. did it. No way.
You
Dave,
just
the setup
watched one of
from Narsaris. No pins. I can't believe it.
I'm absolutely stunned by that finale. This, again, Echelon Racing League in full effect. Another world-class finale. We all walk away a winner after a ride like that, but there's the champ in the house, Holden Camo, for a huge, huge win. But hey, how about his teammate Matt Kerbeau, winning fans and hearts? Saris No Pins has their best day. Holden, you're my hero.
Oh my gosh, that was some of the absolute best racing I've ever seen out on Zwift. Amazing job there from Cyrus No Pins. What they made happen there. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like. I've literally never seen anything like that on Zwift.
Nathan, two of the best days of racing that we've ever had on Zwift Community Live have been part of this Echelon Racing Series. Well, actually three, for that matter. U.S. National Championships was amazing. That Kolchinsky-Guerra battle that we witnessed in the women's side of things that kicked off this series, that's when I knew that Eric Hill had created something special. And today, on the men's side, they weren't to be outdone by the ladies, as this was an incredible day of racing. eSports, I love you.
I just got a message from Eric Hill. He literally just yelled out loud on the freaking plane, he said, watching.
Oh, no.
On Project Echelon is, look at this, right to the line. Oh my gosh. But at the same, I mean, they went 1-2, Dave. They went 1-2. Amazing job. And the power there from Holden. Look at him. Look at he's dancing on the bike.
Who does he think he is? Kristen Kolchinsky now? Is he ordering a pizza? He probably's got a pizza on the way, Nathan.
Oh my gosh.
That's a well-deserved dance. And, that's why when you look at this sport, the personalities really matter. And it's not an exercise contest. This is a community of racers. We saw this earlier when this one went into finale mode, all the racers putting up messages to congratulate Holden on just making that group. They know that he's a legend. And he actually does this backwards now, huh?
Yeah, he's going backwards. That's what it looks like here. But, I mean, this is the sprint here, Dave. Look at this, shaking the room. Literally shaking the room. So amazing job there.
Remember the old joke about a chicken eating breakfast, right? That's like an elephant eating breakfast with the watts that he's throwing down, man.
Well
Holden
done,
Camo.
Yeah, good to see. And it's really good to see him back at the very top. It's been a little while since we've seen Holden take a big win, and it's always really great to see.
Well, thank you to Alex Tenselhoff, as it was great racing out here today with Holden Camo taking top points, and it was just over an hour, 1 hour, 1 minute, and 20 seconds for HC to take the W. Way to go, Holden. His teammate Matt Kerbeau unlocks hero status, lifetime hero status for you, Matt. Great job out there today, as he'll take second as we look at the API results. It's David Weinstein coming through for third. That's a big ride from David today as well. Some impressive performances. Joseph Choiduk, good for fourth. Marcus Duval in fifth. JP Leclerc was sixth. Jaden Yeager for seventh. Jay Brune in eighth. Alex Tenselhoff finds our top 10 in ninth. And then Hayden Pucker. Nathan, there's got to be some most aggressive rider award for Hayden Pucker today. Most courageous rider. There's something for you, Hayden.
Well, 4.9 watts per kilogram. It goes to show who's willing to do the work too, right? I mean, that's
workhorse.
That's as high as it gets amongst the riders, it looks like, out here today.
Good job, Hayden. It was Tom Corrigan racing with 103-degree fever yesterday, and Tom finishes in the front group today for 11th. Brian Duffy Jr. in 12th. Congrats to our national champion again. Thomas Thrall, a Canadian champion, in 13th. Niall, well, earning more fans again with the heroic ride in 14th. Alan Lowe in 15th. Wyatt Paul for 16th, and then Ryan Sample is in 17th here today. And that's all that had finished, I think, when these boards were brought up, as we started with a few more riders than that. But that is probably all the data we have captured.
Let's see if I can bring in. I think the way that Holden's set up, I'm not sure he can have. No, I don't think he can have a conversation. I'm pretty sure a little bit too difficult with his current setup, but that's okay. Nice job to Holden though out there today. and it's been amazing. Well, maybe he can. Let me see here real quick here. I'm going to double check and see if he can unmute himself, and if he can, we'll bring him in. As do have him unmuted. We'll double check and see if he can hear us. Give it just a second, everybody, and see if we can get our winner to have a quick conversation with us. Holden, if you can unmute yourself and see if you can hear us. You got it? You got us?
I can hear you. Yeah, can you hear me all right?
Yeah, we got you. We got you here, Holden. Can you hear Dave? Let's double check and just make sure that you can hear Dave as well.
Holden, how close were you to being dropped out of that group today?
One more time.
Were you asking
we
for
lost
me?
him there. Hold on one second. He can hear you. He can hear you. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Hey,
Holden.
Holden.
One more time. Go ahead and answer that question. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Could you please repeat the question? I'm sorry, it's loud in my room.
Hey, Holden, congratulations. Hey, how close did they get to dropping you out of the front group today?
You know what? It was thank you for the congratulations. That was a big surprise. I wasn't expecting that at all. I think these races have been a lot of fun, but also really hard. This whole series, and the typical approach that I've faced over the last 5 races here has been 5 20-minute really hard sustained efforts, and that's the kind of thing that really destroys me. And today the pace just wasn't so bad. Admittedly, I've been training a lot. I've been training really hard. My fitness is better than it's been right now than it has been in the past, I don't know, 3 years, 4 years maybe. So it feels awesome to be feeling strong, but also be set up in a race. Just tactically, it just worked to my advantage today. It's completely unexpected, really. So that was it was a lot of fun. I thought actually we had, with like 3 miles to go, I thought there was another climb. So I was sort of preparing to get dropped on that last climb, thinking that there was going to be another big dig. And fortunately, we didn't go uphill again. We just went back down. And once we get to the point where it's going to be a shootout for the sprint, I feel pretty good about my chances in that situation.
Hey, can we talk about what Matt Kerbo did? Hey, so as we go into that finale, Nathan and I were losing our minds. It was so exciting to watch. There were so many variables at play. But when Matt attacked, it looked so tactically perfect that we were almost watching someone putting together a clinic on how to win a bike race. And I think, Nathan, back me up, didn't I scream out at one point they could go 1-2?
You did. You actually did.
Yeah,
At one point, he was like, they could do it. They could go 1-2. I mean, that is the perfect finish for. And I got a question here on that front for Team Tactics, Holden. Were they protecting you? Like, was that a part of the plan to make sure that you have a rider there was always a rider next to you, it looked like, helping you get to the back to the back of the pack? Or were you like, no, I'm able to hold my own here today. I've got the fitness.
Yeah. No, you know what? It's that I won't say that it was.
Go ahead, say it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think so. Tactically, we've been doing this for we've been at this for a while. Matt Kerbo and I like to finish it. That's sort of our classic move. We call it dropping an anchor, where someone on my team will, take an early fire, maybe like 2 to 3K from the finish line, and just try to get a gap. This sets us up like strategically in a fantastic position. Everyone's forced to chase whoever has dropped that anchor out front, and I can then just sort of sit and coast and wait. And if the competition chooses not to chase hard enough, then Money Matt's gonna run away with the win. If the pack does chase, then it sets me up pretty well. And quite frequently, that's the outcome that happens. We end up getting 1-2. It's funny, Matt Kerbo and I had an ongoing joke that he does all the work, and I steal his soul right at the end, right at the first time, last little pit. It's happened quite a number of times, but it's it's all good. Close friends. It's the team win. Today though, we weren't talking in Discord. Matt had some technical issues. I actually didn't even know he was going to race until I saw him enter the pen 5 minutes before the race start. It's our team has been having just some everyone on the teams. It's been a perfect storm of some issues that have complicated our ability to hard and in this race series and in the Grand Prix that's been coming up. There's Matt Gardner had a baby. There's just been a lot of things that have been going on. But we're excited to be in a good position now. We're really back and committed to Zwift racing. We're super excited about the Zwift games that are coming up next month. This just sort of sets us up and builds some momentum for that kind of competition.
Awesome. Well, great job out there, Holden. Really appreciate you giving us some extra time, and great to see you back on the podium with a win. It's always a part of the conversation for sure. And now you've made it to the top of the conversation. So really appreciate the time at the end, and great job to Cyrus out there today.
Thank you, Nathan, Dave. Just personal thank you to you both. You are wonderful, and I appreciate all the hard work that you put into helping bring all this together. It's really exciting. It's part of the reason why us racers do the things that we do, because you guys make it worthwhile for us. So thank you.
You're welcome. Of course. Thank you, Holden.
Awesome.
Thank you, Holden. Well, that's Holden Camus, winner today in the Echelon Racing League for the men. We've actually got Gabriella, I believe, can jump in with us quickly to chat the women's, I believe. Well, we'll see what the official rulings are in the end. We can even talk about that and how that ended up playing out there today for the ladies. As I'm in the background here. Dave, you got to take over.
I'm happy to. I'm a big fan. Gabby, let's talk about that. Great community. And I was telling folks during the race that I think you're a leader in the community. So when something odd arises, like Jackie's situation with her internet, and obviously I don't have all of the details, but tell me your thoughts. Clearly, you start with you showed up to race and have fun, right? So things are a little bit weird. What do you do?
So I can actually give you a little bit more details and insight, because I was chatting with Jackie before the race, and she already said that she was gonna have internet problems, that she had dropouts, she was struggling trying to figure it out. But she said she's gonna try to race, and I encouraged her also to do that. During the race, she was actually messaging, and I couldn't see it. I only saw it later, and she out going. She said, "Should I just drop out of the race, or keep going?" And then someone in our chat said, "Just keep going." And I mean, we didn't see her for a couple minutes, and then all of a sudden she was 1 minute ahead. So it is kind of like I chatted with someone else, and we said, okay, like if the group would know that Jackie would get away, we wouldn't let her get away, because we know that she has huge raw watts. And I think she got a good workout in. I'm not sure if that will like count as the official result. Personally, like it's tough, because like I'm really cheering for her, but at the same time I'm competitive and I'm at the same race, and we're like trying to figure out, okay, can we like work together and get to her? And at the same time, I just wanted to blow the race apart as best as I could. So I got a moment to do that, and it worked. It was fun, and Elise was trying to like do the same, and it was, yeah, we chatted afterwards. We had a lot of fun. So I don't know how we could avoid that problem in the future. It's tough. Like she had like the ghost power up, let's say, and just disappeared, and then we saw her and then she was gone. So it's a tricky situation now. But we had a good time. She had a good workout. Whatever the outcome then will be. For the points overall series, I don't think that will have a big impact as far as I know. So we'll see.
Thanks, Gabby. So taking your point as being, at the end of the day, everybody was classy and had fun. And I want to, though, get to the second part of that. you crushed it today. Racing against a
you.
quality competitor like Kristen Kolchinsky or Elise Gallegos or Sarah Roach, whoever it might be, it's different when you're racing. Talk to me about that feeling of racing against some of the best women and how much of a difference it makes in your efforts to be racing against them.
I'm not sure I got what what's your question?
The quality of the field being high, the level of the racing being high, must make it a better experience for you.
Yeah, actually, yes, it does, because it's not like, oh, it's easy to break away, you have to know, you have to try, you have to think about it, and or is breaking away even an option, So for me today, I was just gonna try to make a good workout out of it, because the group was already kind of small, but every time I went, everybody was right there. And yeah, I even said during the race in chat, I wrote, "Oh, everybody's sharp. I just want to make sure that nobody is sleeping." But everybody would always go if I would attack, or someone else even would do a move or like push the pace. So that's way more fun, because otherwise it would be like, oh, whatever, I can just get away and walk away. So that's not the case at all, which is really cool.
So last question for you, Gabby, as we have one more race in this series, but obviously it's freezing cold in Wisconsin right now. Do you ever look over at Nathan during the racing and feeling bad that he's shivering while you're racing, while he's doing the broadcast?
I feel bad that I have to open the window and then the room gets really, really cold. But at the same time, I think it's better that we don't overheat while racing and he can put on a coat.
Perfect.
But the best situation would be that he has his own separate space and not having
Get him
to
a space heater.
and also he has to
Right.
deal with my background noises when I'm like, I don't know, messing with my trainer or something, or like going, I don't know. But yeah, we'll have to just make good trades there and not make the room too cold either, because that's really easy right now. It's like it's like -Celsius degrees we have, so even one window open can make the room too cold actually to race, and that's not good either.
No, it's a great example, though, Gabby, of so many folks in Zwifting have a partner who they do it with, or competing together. And the sport seems like it's much more fun when you're not just alone in a basement, when you got people with you and around you. And I'm just kidding. Anyways, he needs his computers to stay cold too, right? Those things get hot, so it benefits everybody keeping it cold down there in the game cave for sure. So, hey, Gabby, congratulations! Thanks a lot, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah, thank you too, Dave. Thank you, guys.
Right on. Hey, that's always fun, Nathan. You don't look that cold to me.
Well, she closed the window. She closed the window, and it's now 10 degrees warmer. I'm not kidding. It
Good.
literally got
Yeah.
10 degrees warmer now. So, well, that was some great racing. When we came into it, I was like, man, wow, they've got a long day in the saddle out here today. Is it going to be entertaining? Well, they showed up and made the race, didn't they, Dave?
100%, Nathan. Absolutely. I'm always amazed. The days when I show up at the computer and I look and I see 46K, I wonder, how could we possibly fill all of that time? It went by in a flash. So congratulations to all of our amateur racers and our elite racers out here today. Job well done. And look forward to seeing you next week one more time for the Echelon Racing League.
Race number 6 next week. You can still jump in and race with these racers if you want to. Head on over to Echelon Racing League. You can also head over to ZwiftCommunityLive.com for more information on all of that. We'll be live and back at you on Monday here on Zwift Community Live for our Z Racing series for January, the Flat is Fast series. We also have the ZRL broadcasts are going to be kicking off race number 1 on Tuesdays, both for the Europe and America's broadcasts. And we've got a special kind of Zwift rivals, we'll call it, similar to those Twitch rivals broadcasts that some of those that do know about the gaming scene in the world. We're going to be doing some Zwift play testing on personal streams, actually, out on the Repack Rush as well as Crit City on Wednesday in conjunction with Zwift Insider. And then if it goes real well, the following week, maybe some Zwift commentary, Zwift Community Live commentary on it. So Wednesday, you want to do some Zwift rivals? Come and race myself, Gabriella, and others in those events. They'll be scheduled real soon here. Be on the watch out for Zwift Insider to be putting an article out about that over at ZwiftInsider.com. Thanks everybody for tuning in, though. We'll see you Monday for the Z Racing. This has been Echelon Racing League race number 5. As always, from Dave and I, we really appreciate you all tuning in, and ride on.
Zach Nair is this man is focused. He is locked and loaded. This is not a drill. Big time bike racing is back. A lot of communication going on with that next and short team, but again, this is the man on the front. So Brian Duffy Jr. driving scoop. Wisconsin's Hayden Tucker. Restart Nathan is really standing up to that next team here.